Ooh, bonjour. Hello, people. It's time for another secret late night live stream. How's it going? How's it going, people out there in the interwebs? All right, so in the chat, I know there is a delay. Let me know how the audio and visuals are. I'm still getting the hang of using this website, StreamYard. It's new for me. What's going on, people? All right, let me see if I can look at this and make sure we're actually everything is going properly. Yes. Look at this. Whoops. Playing myself. Okay, yeah, there we go. Hey guys. Hey guys. So I streamed last night. I did a little secret stream. I decided I was gonna do another one. So I'm not gonna be keeping this video up on the channel. So it will be unlisted. And after the stream is over, it will be in the live stream playlist. So you can still find it, but it won't be on the main channel. It'll be unlisted in a playlist. So that's what will happen. So yeah, I decided that I would come on here and talk a little bit about, science fiction, politics just a little bit. Because, recently with things like Star Trek, Star Trek Picard coming out, people are very, and I talked a little bit about this last night when I streamed. When it comes to politics, it's really weird. It's really weird that people have this view of, I guess, media that it should be devoid of any kind of political influence, when really nothing that you ever read or watch is free from, politics, right? And the reason that this is coming up is because of, I guess this was triggered because of the whole Star Trek Picard thing. Everyone's all like, "Oh no, they're making it woke," and then like Dune. Everyone's been like, "Oh no, they're making Dune woke," and to insinuate that someone is, I guess, especially that Denis Villeneuve is like inserting left-wing political ideas into Dune that aren't already there is like ridiculous, right? Especially when we haven't even seen the movie yet. All right. And people were doing this to the Picard show before it was even out. They were just like sharing clickbait articles. Oh, so and so said this. This means the show's going to be woke. Not even, I think, realizing that, Star Trek is one of the, I guess, wokest shows of all time. And it has been since the beginning. So it's just bizarre to me. But, yeah. That was just, I wanted to bring that up. It's super annoying to me. Damien Ledford, you said Bernie sucks. Well, you mind explaining why? Dante, Dune is getting woke. How so? Well, people are saying that, oh, since, black actors have been cast as Fremen, Denis Villeneuve is inserting wokeness, this push for diversity. And that I think really stems from a misunderstanding of Dune. And it's showing a bias, and two, it's the fact that you're even saying that shows that you don't really understand Dune, because like the whole point of those like last three books from God Emperor on is like the necessity of human diversity. It's like survive. It's like in order to survive, we have to diversify. So people are saying, oh, because the Fremen are being cast as darker skinned people, that's woke. But then also they're desert dwellers. It's weird that in David Lynch's Dune that they're all like pale skin, right? At least in the miniseries, some of them were, I think Chani was Latina or something. But it's weird in David Lynch's Dune that you see all the Fremen and they've got light skin. That is stranger than Denis Villeneuve, casting black actors, is it not? And then also there's the rumor that Jessica is having a bigger role than Dune, right? So in the Denis Villeneuve movie, they're saying that Jessica is going to have what's the word, a more prominent role, like the movie would focus on her more so than in the books. And the thing is, I said on Twitter that Dune is essentially the Lady Jessica's book. Is it not? A lot of it, a large portion of it, especially for the first half of it, is from the Lady Jessica's perspective, right? We witness Paul become gradually less and less of a human, right? He becomes more and more alien as more and more of his powers awaken. And then ultimately by the end of it, he's almost like seen as like this superhuman being. And then even right at the end, you've got Jessica's words right at the end. History will call us wives. So in a lot of ways, Dune is Jessica's book. So I don't see how, people crap on Denis Villeneuve and say like, oh, because he's giving Jessica, who's one of the main characters of the book, a bigger role, that it's somehow inserting wokeness. I just don't get it. It's like people are freaking out about it, and it's just bizarre. Um, you know, a few years ago on the internet, right? Because I've been on YouTube for a while. There was this whole like wave of like everyone's gotta criticize the SJW because SJWs complain about media all the time. They complain about stuff that doesn't matter in media. Now I see a total like reversal. It's like people on the other side complain just as much. Anytime a black actor is cast in anything, anytime a woman actress is cast in anything, there's like lead female roles. Complain, 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 complain. And it's just like, dude, we haven't even seen a trailer for Dune yet. And it was the same thing with Picard. Like, dude, we haven't even seen this show yet before you start complaining about it being woke. It's very bizarre. Yeah, guys, I'm not really here to talk about Bernie. I'm just wearing my Bernie shirt. Just got on my Bernie shirt. I just kind of like there's this I'm more here to discuss this pervasive idea right now that media must be separated from politics because I think it's silly. Um, I think it's silly to suggest it, especially when it comes to science fiction. When has science fiction ever been, separated from real world politics? That wasn't true in Asimov's Foundation. That wasn't true in Frank Herbert's Dune. That wasn't true in 1984. That wasn't true in Ender's Game. I can't think of it. I can't think of an example. And if you can, it's probably bad science fiction. And that's certainly never been true in Star Trek. Hmm. What am I sipping? It's just water. It's just water. It keeps the pipes going. Um, Rager says, I agree with you talking about media. What you're wearing is just a shirt. Who cares? Exactly. I think I missed a super chat. I am so sorry. Okay. So 94 Evangelican says about people that complain about SJW and SJW that they rather seem to like works that conform to their views, but isn't that a little hypocritical? It is absolutely hypocritical. Like I was saying the other day on Mike's stream, I think I saw Mike in the chat, but I was like, if I complained about every time that I read or watched something where it was like, oh, there's a political opinion that I don't agree with, I would never read or watch anything, right? Isn't that true? Like every time you're reading a book, I mean, that artist, the person, the author, that person that's writing that book has ideas about the world, and that is in the book, whether you see it or not. You can't be separated from it. Jerry Foster says, F Bernie, I'm out. We'll see you, bro. Whatever. Whatever. Let's see. I think the whole men bad, women good type of politics makes people cringe. Well, of course, that's super annoying. I recently saw, well, not recently, last year, I saw that Avengers movie, right? And you guys might know I am not like an Avengers person or like a Marvel person, really. I read a lot of Marvel comics back in the day. Mike, you want to get on the stream? I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link if you want to. Anyways, when it comes to Marvel, I was never a Marvel fan. Well, I was back in the day when I was a kid. I read a lot of comics. But as far as the movies, I've been kind of like, whatever on them. But I remember in that Avengers movie, I guess Marvel has always done those, silly things. But there's a part in the last movie that made no sense to me, where it's like they're all in the battlefield, they're all like scattered around fighting, And then suddenly it's like all the female Avengers just show up for like a photo op, and they're all just like standing in the same place suddenly. And it was clearly just like I don't know, like someone in the like studio being like, let's have a shot where it's like all the female characters together, even if it makes no sense at all. Yeah, so that was a little weird. So I guess when people do like just insert those things in there just to be woke or whatever, it is kind of a little weird and a little annoying. I can see that. But I don't think Denis Villeneuve is doing that. I mean, I guess look, I often think if Frank Herbert's Dune was coming out like today, if Frank Herbert's Dune was coming out today, I think it would get criticized for being woke. Like if those 6 books were coming out today, people would be like, woke, 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 it's woke. Because look at Dune. You've got a sisterhood that rules the entire universe, and then those last 2 books are just about the sisterhood. People would complain, oh, look at all these female characters. They'd see the trailer and instantly complain, because that constantly happens now. There'll be a trailer of a movie, and then like most of the cast will be female or black or something. And then all that you see is, oh my God, this woke crap. Why is it so woke? And it's like, black people and women exist, right? Just having them in things doesn't equal woke, right? You get over it. Get over it. It's like the same thing that they cried about SJWs doing is exactly what they do right now. And it's just so bizarre. I feel like when I criticized Game of Thrones, when I criticize Game of Thrones, my criticisms are substantive. And I'm never like, I'm just going to criticize this because it's a woke. Oh, it's woke. Give me a freaking break, crybabies. But that's just what I think. I got a super chat. I dig your work. It got me to read the expanded Dune universe books. Keep on reading. A lot of people, have issues with the expanded stuff, but I dig it. I don't think that the Bene Gesserit would vote for Bernie Sanders. The Bene Gesserit would vote for whoever they felt they could, they'd be pragmatic about it. They'd vote to whoever would suit their needs the best, right? I'm sure they would be meticulous in their decision and be, Okay, let's see. I forgot how young you are. Your voice sounds older. Your shirt shows your age. I got to get out of this show now because I will start to not like you. Stick to A Song of Ice and Fire and Audible. Jennifer, just unsubscribe. Seriously. If a shirt bothers you that much, like stop being a crybaby. Like that's all I can say. Like stop being a crybaby, right? I have so many conservative friends that I talk to on a day-to-day basis where if I got mad about a shirt that somebody was wearing or a hat that somebody was wearing, like, I don't know. I don't have time for that. Please. My squeezing arm. As a moderate, I dislike how tribal everyone is. Exactly. Jennifer, I dislike how tribal everyone is. We all have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So listen twice as much as you speak. Thank you very much for all the content. I agree. I agree. Evan says, I finished God Emperor recently and am watching the last Game of Thrones episode right now. Have you seen Game of Thrones yet? Are you watching it again? Or are you watching it for the first time? Because if you're watching it for the first time, then I'm sorry for the pain. I'm sorry for the pain that you're being exposed to. And if you're watching it for the second time, I'm sorry that you're doing that to yourself again. But I recently watched it again, so, I understand, Jennifer. I get where you're coming from. Yeah. Have I read the Witcher books? I'm going to start the Witcher books pretty soon. Everyone's been demanding Witcher since before the show even came out. But I look at that show. I haven't seen it, but I look at that show and I think mediocrity. All right. And what I've heard, the general consensus that I've gotten from that show is mediocrity. I don't know if I want to waste my time if it's not really good. So Robert Rogers says, I agree with you about the shirt. Yeah, shirts are just shirts. Political opinions, whatever. People have different views on stuff. They always have. Always have. But yeah, anyways, like I was saying before, the idea that we can separate media, television, books, graphic novels, whatever, from politics is ludicrous. It's always been ludicrous. And it's crazy that the people that'll people are huge hypocrites when it comes to it a lot of times too, because when it's politics that they agree with, they don't care. But when it's politics that they disagree with, oh, it's the biggest deal ever, right? Frank Herbert was very good at roasting people on both sides, right? And there's that great quote in God Emperor of Dune where he says, scratch a conservative and you'll find someone that prefers the past over the future, and scratch a liberal and you'll find a closet aristocrat. And he goes on to say that, these are the words of the God Emperor, that liberal governments tend to form into aristocracies, which can be true to an extent. Because when you talk about liberals, and you can separate liberal from leftist. When you talk about liberals, like you have like the Hollywood elites, those are liberals, right? The Hollywood elites are liberals. And then you have actual leftists, like Bernie Sanders, the grassroots movement. Those are leftists. But you got the liberals, that are like, oh, socially liberal, but on the fiscal side of things, they might as well be Republicans. They're aristocrats, essentially. They are part of the elite. So I see where Frank Herbert is coming from with that. And then he also with the thing when he says, scratch a conservative and you find someone that prefers the past over the future. That rings true to me as well. I do see it's more like, the Trump thing, make America great again. Frank Herbert said that in Dune, decades ago. Scratch a conservative and you find someone that prefers the past over the future. Just look at everything about that slogan. 94 Evangelion, thank you so much for your super chat. Speaking of media, I feel real honest journalism is more needed than ever, considering stuff like Fox News or MSNBC. Ironically, Teen Vogue and the internet seems to be the true voices of journalism. I agree, right? I don't watch much mainstream media. I watch a lot of independent media because I find that, well, when it comes to mainstream media, you're just hearing they're just mouthpieces for the establishment. That's what the mainstream media is. That's exactly what the mainstream media is. So it's like you actually do have to go to independent news sources to be informed. Can we not talk about politics? I mean, whatever. Whatever. I don't know. I mean, politics is in the title of the live stream, so it's kind of like you click on the stream with the knowledge that, there may be some political discussion. And then also in the thumbnail of this video, I'm pretty sure you can see the Bernie Sanders shirt. So it's like you read the title, you see the thumbnail, and then you come on, you hear me talking about politics, which you should have been able to predict. And then you say, don't talk about politics. I mean, I don't know, dude. Ray JJJR says, I think politics is just pro wrestling and suits. That being said, thanks for introducing me to Dune. I can't wait to start reading the books. Yeah, Dune, one of the greatest sci-fi series ever, if not the greatest. Certainly one of the most influential. I can't recommend it enough. Gavin McGinnis says, hey bro, nice to hear you differentiate between liberal and leftist. I'd argue that leftists are the elitists, but shows that you have a nuanced take. Okay. Yo, what up, Quinn? Hey, Lord Solar. How's it going? How are things? Joel Bridge says, when you think about the issue with identity politics, it's smokescreen for the main issue. Seth Rogen, kind of a good example right now. I don't know what's going on with Seth Rogen right now, but I think identity politics is useful to a certain extent and has been useful. When it came to the civil rights movement, that literally was identity politics. But when it comes to, you got candidates saying things like vote for me because I'm black, or vote for me because I'm a woman. That kind of identity politics needs to die. Absolutely. Linnaw 12 says these Bernie supporters are anti-women. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. Um, I just don't think it's true. I don't think Bernie supporters are anti-women. I have not seen that. I feel like that is propaganda at best. Oh, in Dune we trust, says Don Spartan. Indeed. Dylan S. You mean Joe Rogan? Yeah, I do know the whole thing with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan recently endorsed Bernie Sanders, and there have been a lot of liberals that are upset that Bernie acknowledged the endorsement. So because apparently Joe Rogan has said things that are not so politically correct. He said things that may have been considered transphobic in the past. So a lot of people are like, Bernie, why are you magnifying this endorsement? But look, here's the thing, guys. A Joe Rogan endorsement, I mean, that's extremely powerful, right? And Joe Rogan even mentioned that other candidates like Biden, Warren tried to get on, and he was like, no, these people would kill for a Joe Rogan endorsement, but because it's Bernie, we got to be like, no, we can't have it. We gotta try and take down Joe Rogan and destroy Joe Rogan, and we got to try and because Joe Rogan may or may not think certain things, we got to like associate it with Bernie just because he endorsed him. Give me a break. Joe Rogan didn't say I endorse Bernie because I think he's a transphobe, right? That's not what he said. Get over it. That's my opinion on that whole thing. Dresden, Valerio. Frank Herbert was really good at looking at politics in general and cautioning folks from getting swept up in the whirlwind, regardless of the group. Exactly. No matter what side you're on, right? You always got to look at the people that are in charge and think and question them. Always. Don't fall for a charismatic leader. Don't just be like, I'm going to follow this person just because they sound like they kind of know what they're talking about. When it comes to these people that are in power, you've got to look at their record, look at what they've done in the past, look at the way they voted on issues. You've got to look at everything. You got to look at the whole entire deal, right? You got to look at all of it. Don't just follow someone charismatically. And continue to question your leader constantly, right? Constantly. And that is the central message of Dune, right? That's not even one of them. That is the central message of Dune. Don't trust charismatic leaders. Oh, I can put the super chats up on the screen. Oh, I'm learning how to use Streamlabs now because I didn't know how to do this until now. Joel Bridge says, when I work on the Sanders campaign in 2016, his grassroots was ironic, made of a lot of women and many of them of color. That's the thing, because the media likes to spread this lie about Bernie Sanders that all of his supporters are, the Bernie bro narrative, right? Oh, excuse me, guys. I gotta reach over here and get this. To prove a point. The Bernie bro narrative. It's all like, oh, Bernie supporters are like these militant like white guys. There's so many. Bernie has the largest amount of like people of color. Bernie's got the most diverse coalition of anyone. I volunteered for Bernie Sanders last year. I volunteered, right? Being there, feeling that energy. It's like that's where the real energy is in this country. That's the real movement. It's Bernie. It's been with Bernie, and we've been new. We've been new, right? I got another super chat. So how do I put it on the screen? Oh, yeah, click on it here. Oh, there we go. See, I'm figuring it out. I'll send you some bread for reading that last comment. Ha ha ha. Sorry, man. I'm a conservative myself, but I love your stuff, and I hope your channel booms. Me too, bro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Did you get your check from Mexico to... Wait, what was that? What were you saying? Oh, the thing on the Streamlabs stream goes weird. Did you get your check from Mexico to pay for the wall yet, Trump trolls? Exactly. It was weird that Trump was like, Mexico is going to pay for the wall. Trump just gets away with saying stuff. It's so funny. Trump just gets away with just saying anything. He'll say it, and then 2 weeks later be like, I didn't say it, and then the people that follow him just forgive it and they don't even care. It's just like, what can you do with that? That's basically I don't know, some weird stuff, man. And that's exactly the type of mentality that Frank Herbert was trying to move us past. And it didn't matter what side you're on. Like I said, Frank Herbert goes after both sides of the spectrum. It doesn't matter. It's when you put all of your trust into a charismatic leader and it's just whatever this guy says goes all the time, it's not good. Like I said, if Dune was coming out today, if Frank Herbert was releasing this saga right now, I guarantee you he would get accused of being woke, right? It's really just these people that haven't read the books and really don't know what they're talking about that are accusing Denis Villeneuve of inserting wokeness into Dune. And it's those same fake Star Wars not Star Wars, but it's those same fake Star Trek fans and those same fake Captain Picard fans that never really were behind the character, probably never really were connected to him, that complain about that new show and say that it's some bastardization of Trek, because it's not. Thank you for your super chat. John Binstead says, I support Trump and I call him the hyperbolator salesman. Right on. Carlos Henrique says, thank you so much for your super chat, by the way. I never seen you talk about Harry Potter. I'd love to see your opinions and theories. Do you read Pottermore? I haven't been in that website since I was a teenager. But yeah, I've read everything Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. And then even Harry Potter is something that you can't separate from politics. Like even J.K. Rowling has her own politics. See, that's what I'm saying. You have never watched anything your entire life that has been devoid of a political thing, right? Like J.K. Rowling, she deals with like the ministry and the magical government becoming progressively more and more of a fascist dictatorship. All of that's in there, right? So, I mean, it's in there. It's in there. Stephen Ernest says woke is actually a good thing. People have different definitions for woke. I've found, right? People say things like woke means, people have different. I think it's different. It means something different for everybody. Let's do a, I don't know, census, whatever. When you guys hear the word woke, when you hear the word woke in the modern context, what does it bring to mind, right? When I hear someone saying, oh, this is someone's trying to make this woke, it means typically someone is trying to insert left-wing ideas into something. But I think initially what woke was supposed to mean was that, I mean, exactly like that, like you had your eyes open. It's supposed to be like, I don't know. But I feel like recently it does have a negative context, Keith Gratton, for sure. Jake Cruz, woke means legally crazy. D. Bergovist, woke is a synonym with SJW. Andrew says woke equals inclusive. Someone said woke equals cancel culture. Woke is a right-wing slur. Nassim says woke is black privilege. Happy Man, woke rampant progressivism. Wolfie the Wingnut, woke is false enlightenment. You guys got a bunch of different opinions on this. Someone says it's trending to be woke. That's why the comment went by too fast. It's trending to be woke. That's why people hate it. People do tend to hate things that are trendy, don't they? There's always whenever something comes to the mainstream, there's always a counterculture that forms against it. That's like a rule of just, I don't know, human ways or something. Nada L, thank you so much for your super chat. Listening to the Dune audiobook. Favorite recent series for me is the Rak Sura and the Book of the Ancestor. Politics often, unintentional writers in narratives. I think I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I sometimes I think that writers probably do unwittingly put politics into their books. They might not necessarily realize it, but look, your beliefs inform your decisions. Your beliefs, what you think about the world, informs every action that you take. So whether that's on a conscious level or on a subconscious level, and you should be, examining that constantly and always thinking about, what biases do I potentially have, right? If you want to be, see, that's kind of what woke meant to me, I think. Or I think what it should mean. It should mean like, I guess I am examining things constantly, and I'm even looking internally and examining, maybe I have some biases about certain things, because nobody is perfect on anything, right? That's why I think a lot of people mess up, right? Someone will have, I don't think someone will have like some bad opinions on one thing, right? But in every other aspect of their life, they were like a good person, but they've just got this one a kind of backwards opinion. And then you've got like the mob that comes and tries to tear this person down. It's like that's what cancel that's like the bad side of cancel culture, I guess. Because the mob will come, and because of this one thing that this person said one time or did one time, they'll try and completely destroy them. And it could have been like 20 years ago, right? When they were like 16 or something, they'll just try to completely destroy them. That's very scary. It's like the court of public opinion. It's very it can be scary. I got another super chat. Dresden Valeriel, thank you so much. Last super chat. Just wanted to say great job with the channel. It is great to see someone so young compared to me, so driven, so hardworking, and seeing it work out for them. Keep it up. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Henrik G says, no Frank Herbert wouldn't be called woke in today's society. Where would you get that idea? I mean, I think he would. I think if Heretics of Dune was coming out today, right, and you've got Dune that picks up like 1,500 years later, you've got all these female characters leading, people would very well be like, oh, he's making Dune woke. Because I see it everywhere. I see it too much for you to tell me that wouldn't be the case. Right? I see it too much for you to tell me that wouldn't be the case. That people wouldn't be saying just because they're female characters that Dune is woke. People would almost certainly be saying that, because anytime that something comes out where it's like majority female or the majority people of color or anything like that, it gets labeled woke. Always. I see it constantly. Even if it's like the tiniest little hint of it, I see it. Another super chat. Was Arya more cringe than the Sand Snakes? The Sand Snakes were worse, I think. I think the Sand Snakes were worse. I think they were. It was just because they never had a chance. It was like Arya was good for like a good portion of the show, and then she just went progressively more and more downhill. But God, the Sand Snakes were just pure awful cringe until the end of time. It was just like horrible, and I hated it. So John Binstead said woke equals censorship. Whoa, what was that? What do you think about hate speech regulations? What do I think about hate speech regulations? Well, it depends on what you're saying. I mean, if you're inciting violence, then of course that shouldn't be allowed. But I guess in general, I'm on the side of free speech. In general, I feel like people should be able to say whatever they want to say, and that should be fine. Oh, I didn't see Joel Bridges' super chat. I missed it. There it is. Completely off topic. If you're going to start with the Witcher series, read short stories first, starting with The Last Wish and The Sword of Destiny. They are very philosophical, along with being a good fantasy. That's what I've been told, to read the short stories first. So I will definitely do that whenever I pick up that series, whenever the time comes. Joe Yak now says, are the White Walkers all dead? You mean in the show or in the book? I'll assume you mean the show. It seems like it. It seems like they all turned into ice cubes, and that they're all just like ice cubes now, and it's all over. That's what it seems like. Because it seemed like the Night King was the main dude, and when they killed the Night King, they all shattered into nothingness. And I don't like it, but that's what they did. Thank you so much for your super chat, Jamie Patterson. You didn't say anything, but you did leave a super chat. Thank you so much. 94 Evangelican. If there was a more faithful version of A Song of Ice and Fire, certainly people would see the feminazi propaganda, considering the empowerment of, see it as feminazi propaganda, considering the empowerment of Asha and Ariane. People already accuse Game of Thrones of being like feminist and being like, propaganda because of the female characters. People already say that. And George R. Martin does. George R. Martin does have a lot of leading female characters that people. I think if more people read the books, they would see it. Let's see. Gave and McGinnis says, incitement is not equal free speech. We're on the same page. Oh, okay, I agree. Let's see. Woke equals exclusive. I don't agree necessarily, but I did ask you guys to give me your. Oh, did I skip your super chat, David? David Pandish. Oh God, I gotta go find it. I didn't see it. I did not see it. I did not see your super chat. I am so sorry. What did you say? Did I? Honored Matres had their nemesis in Tleilaxu. They would never fit in a modern movie. I'm gonna go. I'm so sorry. Let me go back and see what the super chat was because I did not see it. I did not see it. It's the way that Streamlabs shows the comments, and they kind of like it kind of refreshes in bulk. So it's like doop doop doop, and sometimes I guess they get pushed up. So let me just go here and click on super chat. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. There it is. David Pandish. I don't really like much of this talk, LOL. But do you, dog? What is your favorite ideas about the collective unconscious? It's a little bit in Dune. Well, the collective unconscious is like the idea that mankind possesses this kind of, I guess, underneath our own, or just beyond our own individual consciousness, there is, I guess, like a field of consciousness that we're all connected to. And it's kind of like a woo-woo metaphysical idea. You know what's interesting? Take a bunch of shrooms and it might seem more reasonable to you. But I tend to think that, until we can, prove the existence of something, there's no real reason in assuming that it exists. A lot of super chats are pouring in that I haven't seen. Lovely content, but you dissed me on your last stream. Super chat ignored. Awaiting Dune. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry if I dissed you on your last stream. I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. It's just these super chats are pouring in so quickly. So quickly. Let me actually put this over here. Put that over there. So I can see these super chats at all time. Move that one over there. Move that one over here. Scoot that one. All right, now I can see these super chats. Jamie Patterson says, woke gets a bad rep. Watchmen is woke. Trek is woke. Bad woke is censorship. Okay, yeah. Good point. Ray Thula says, have you read Catherine Kurtz's Durini series? It's low magic fantasy with humans that are basically Jedi using psionics that are called sorcerers. Interesting. I have not read it. Vic A says, the anti-SJW crowd hates any form of diversity, female leads. I think many of them are just insecure. I do get that sense, and I wouldn't be saying it if I didn't see it all the time. Like literally anytime anything comes out with a bunch of females or people of color, it's always, this is woke. I'm just like, God dang it, it's getting tired. It's getting tiresome. It's getting very, very tiresome. Okay, so first their name, Game of Thrones says, love content, but you dissed me in your live stream. Super chat ignored. Awaiting Dune. Yes. Oh, I already read that. Sorry. Nada L says, read any Neil Asher books. They are like Asimov's. I haven't, but I should. All right. So I got caught up on the super chats. Those are the super chats, and they're still piling in. Even I can't say a last name, so I'm not even gonna try. Hey, discovered your Dune vids this week. Fantastic work. Have you ever read Douglas Adams? I'm on the third Hitchhiker's book, and I love it. Bernie 2020. I love Douglas Adams. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is so funny and so good. And it's kind of, if you don't know about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Douglas Adams, I guess, took the idea of the Encyclopedia Galactica from Asimov's Foundation and then kind of made the series. It's kind of like a parody science fiction, not too serious deal. but he made the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I think is like loosely based off of it. It's really great. I love it. And there is a movie that came out, and then also an older show that ran, before I was born at some point. Are you excited for the Avatar sequels? No. It's been way too long for me to be excited about that. It's been way too long. I'm sorry. Richard Buckman says, huge fan, keep doing what you're doing. My previous super chat asked, do you hate Lynch's Dune as much as I fear you do? Unapologetic Lynch fan. I don't hate Lynch's Dune. I think it's, for the time that it came out in, it's decent. I think the effects are a little dated. I think there's a lot that Lynch got wrong, but I enjoy watching it, honestly. I put it on sometimes and I watch it. I have like the Blu-ray, so it's in really high quality. It's good. Paul Ramberg says, any tips on making or scripting video essays? Been wanting to make a couple for Malazan. I mean, just write it and then rewrite it and then just edit and edit and edit and edit. That's what I do. I'm not a very good teacher. I'm sorry. David Pandage says, that's how the Reverend Mothers would pass down genetic memories. Oh, through the collected unconscious. Interesting take. Ev, did I already read? Yeah, I already read that super chat. Okay, yeah, here we go. This one I didn't read. Drew Wismanick says, fan in Athens, Georgia here. Loved it when you told that SJWs were dangerously close to actually getting Dune when they called Paul a mighty whitey. Yeah, that story did come out a while ago where people were saying Paul is a mighty whitey and yada, 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 yada. People have been saying that for a while. People are trying to, from both sides, though. It's not just, it's a really weird thing that I've been seeing with this new Dune movie. It's not just people on one side of the political spectrum attacking this movie. It's both. It's both of the crybabies on both sides. And it's so ridiculous. It's like some of the people are black. Oh my God, it's woke because people are black. Jessica has a bigger role to serve the narrative, perhaps. Oh my God, it's woke because Denis Villeneuve is expanding on one of the main characters. Paul Atreides is white. Oh my God, it's woke because the main character is white. Not woke. I mean, like anti-woke. You know what I mean? It's regressive because he's a mighty whitey because he's got white skin. I mean, just come on, get over it. Stop crying. It's really weird, man. People get their knickers in a twist about way too much these days. I actually thought of Paul as mixed or something. It is the future after all. I kind of agree, right? And then considering the fact that the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood has been manipulating genetics for a really, really, really long time, it's kind of like it's a mix of a lot of stuff. And then if you look at, and Oscar Isaac, who's playing his dad, I believe is Hispanic. So, he's not, there's some mixing going on. Some mixing things up. I hope I didn't miss anybody else's super chat. Let me know if I did. I'm looking through to make sure. I don't think I did. It is the year 10191 or something. Yeah, so it's about 20,000 years in our future. So I guess we go about 10,000 years in the Dune timeline, and then we reset when the guild forms, right? When the guild is done. So every date after that is AG after the guild was formed. Yeah, and it seems, and also look, it seems like a lot of, well, at least some of the complaints about the new Dune movie being quote unquote woke is coming from the fact that people are familiar or are used to seeing the David Lynch movie, right? They're used to seeing like all the really pale people that live in the desert in David Lynch's Dune. So they say, oh, Denis Villeneuve is turning white characters black, but he's not. He's just interpreting them the way they should have been interpreted in the first place, right? Because it does, like I said before, it doesn't make sense to have these pale people living in the desert. It just doesn't. And in what universe does that make sense? Not on Dune, not on Arrakis. Okay, 94 Evangelion says, hey, have you read works from the era of the 60s, 70s, new wave sci-fi that Dune came from, such as Ursula K. Le Guin, Also, Ariadne is my favorite. Martel. Yeah, I have read a lot of, science fiction from the 60s and 70s. I've been progressively reading more and more, picking up on more and more things. Right? I've gotten recently into um, the Ringworld universe. Think, what's the proper title for that universe? I can't think, because the Ringworld is just one series. But yeah, I'm doing more and more Ringworld, and I can see the influence in Dune even there. I think the first Ringworld was out in 1975. But yeah, I got another super chat. Whoa, thank you so much, Thor. So it's Thor 18 Bim BEM. You sent me a $50 super chat, but you didn't say anything. You just left a heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's really, really generous. You guys are freaking awesome. Super generous. Like seriously though. Thanks, dude. Joel Bridge says, "Will you ever talk about the Wheel of Time?" Perhaps in the future. The show's coming out. The Wheel of Time Amazon Prime show is going to be a thing. YouTuber Daniel Green is a big Wheel of Time fan, and he's cool. Go over and tell him I sent you. He does really excellent videos about Wheel of Time. He's following the casting of the show, following the production of the show and all that thing and all that. Puts out good videos. Quinn's idea. Any feelings about Tulsi? I think woke equals being aware of your bias and blind spots. Also great videos, dude. But when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard, well, I think politically, if you look at Tulsi, like her policies, she's probably the closest to Bernie out of anybody else, really. Especially when you consider her like healthcare plan, she's going with the Australian model, But even you compare that to someone like Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren isn't even for Medicare for all. She just pretends to be. But Tulsi at least is going by the Australian model. But I do think that Tulsi, oh God, she was viciously slammed by the media, viciously, and a lot of that stemmed from Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton being really upset that Tulsi endorsed Bernie in 2016 and stepped down, and Hillary Clinton never let it go. So Hillary Clinton just, and she just had it out for Tulsi, and I think that was a huge part of the reason that Tulsi got crapped on by the media so hard and got accused of being a Russian asset, and then now Tulsi is suing Hillary Clinton, which that'll be interesting. We'll see where that goes. But I do think, in general, when it comes to Hillary Clinton, she has a hard time accepting the fact that she lost the election because nobody liked her. Essentially, she lost the election because of her own ego, essentially, and she blames everyone. She blames Bernie. Like recently, she's like, nobody likes Bernie, and she totally backfired. I mean, he's front runner, so obviously somebody likes him. I mean, you don't because you're kind of an establishment hack, but a lot of people do. Ray JJJR, which do you think would be the most likely to occur in our time? 1984, Brave New World, Dune, or Logan's Run? It would probably be a mix of all of them, really. I agree. I agree. I mean, 1984 is like already happening, isn't it? I feel like 1984 is like already here, pretty much. And then Dune is just a step away. We already got the Space Force. We got the Space Force. We just need the spice. And then we got to find some drug that extends life. Oh. Sad but true, Quinn. Indeed. I mean, the Dems need to flush the Clintons out of their bowels. See, my thing about when it comes to politics, I just don't like this idea that you've got certain families that are in politics as it's like royalty. It's like nobility. You shouldn't have like families worth hundreds of millions of dollars ruling the United States and then using nepotism to bolster their children and the rest of their family. It's like just really, it's really disgusting. I thought we moved past this as a society, but I'm not into it. Not into it. Is your comic going to push politics? No. My comic, I mean, not in any direct, straightforward ways. No. My comic is a story about mythology. My comic is about mythology. If you don't know about my comic, link in the description. I've got right here the big book. the big Tadia book that has the entire script. In last night's secret stream, which you can find on the hidden playlist, the hidden live stream playlist on my channel, I actually read the opening to Tadia. So you can find that on that hidden playlist, secret stream. You can get put on the mailing list for my upcoming graphic novel, link in the description. This big book has the whole script and has all my concept art for Tadia. So click the link in the description, get put on the mailing list. The campaign will launch in a few months. We've already collected like 2,000 emails. It's really awesome. Quinn, do you read any Lovecraftian work? Of course. I love Lovecraft. I was actually thinking about doing a little video on the Mountains of Madness, which is a story that I absolutely love because I love the Mountains of Madness. I love it. So basically, Mountains of Madness, there's an expedition somewhere in the Arctic, and they end up uncovering these life forms. They don't know what they are, and they end up uncovering these strange mountains that aren't on any map that nobody knows about. They find a city that's older than any human civilization, and it seems as though this was here before mankind, right? And it seems as though these creatures that are here influence the creation of mankind. So that's that cosmic horror that Lovecraft likes to play with. Have you heard of Polity Books, which is human society run by AIs? You would be a good audiobook narrator. I have not heard of those books, but thank you. So Mike Miller, actually, speaking of the devil,
Hello.
Mike, who actually drew this art. Mike drew this, by the way. This gorgeous art.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So yeah. Hey Mike, what's going on?
Not much. What's going on with you, brother?
We're just chatting about everything.
Yep. I know. I wish I had my Trump shirt on. It would be so copacetic.
Yeah, everyone, if you don't know, Mike is a conservative.
I am conservative with libertarian leanings, as Quinn knows well.
Yes. Wait, someone said,
that's the thing, is I don't like the labels because nobody really fits into particular slots, and so it's like, what are you?
No one does fit in slots, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't agree with Bernie Sanders on everything, but
Right.
Someone said they don't like Chani as Zendaya in Dune. I mean Zendaya as China. I think Zendaya looks good. And actually recently the Twitter page Dune 2020 posted like some art of Zendaya painted as Chani, and it looked really good, I think. So I think Zendaya, she's a good choice.
Yeah, I do too. Not even seeing anything, I think she's a good choice.
Yeah.
Acting wise, I think she's good, and look wise, yeah, for sure.
I've never seen Zendaya in anything. I know she can. I think she has a pretty decent voice. I think I've heard her sing. I've never seen her act. So when it was first announced, I was like, whatever. I was like, I don't really care. I don't have anything against her.
Hold on, I'm trying to log into my proper account here.
Yeah. Do you think we'll ever see a God Emperor of Dune movie? God, I hope so. That'd be crazy. I was saying the other day, the sci-fi miniseries, they did Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune, and they had James McAvoy, and he killed it as Leto II. And then they didn't do God Emperor. But
then they're desperately looking for the next Lord of the Rings, the next just series that they can make billions of dollars off of each episode. So if this first one does well, they're just going to ride that gravy train until they ruin it.
I hope so. I mean, if they follow through with like the books, I know they would have to change it up a little bit because see what the sci-fi miniseries did is they put Dune Messiah and Children of Dune in like the same, like it was part of the same thing, because Dune Messiah is like this weird short book that's like, if you made a movie out of that, I think you would bomb people out, and they'd be like, unless you added more to it, unless you just, because like it ends so just like deflating, and it's sad. It really is just a sad thing. Compared to Dune, which is like this epic story, and then he brings it back with Children of Dune, and it's like Children of Dune is like even more epic and crazy than Dune. It's a lot going on in Children of Dune. Yeah.
I wish I could speak to it, but I have not yet read those books.
Yeah.
Just
one day.
Dune.
One day. Someone
I know.
says,
I got my stinking. So here's what happened with my. Remember, I was saying like all my Audible stuff was gone,
uh-huh.
right? So it turned out because they had been charging my mom's credit card for some bizarre reason I don't understand.
That's really weird.
Yeah, and so, and then the old email address I was using, I don't have access to anymore. So they basically been charging me for like a year and a half. And I didn't have access to it because I was logging in with my
And that's
Google.
like $14 a month too.
Yeah,
$15 a month.
$15 a month. So they are going to refund me like over $200.
Jesus.
Yeah. But and then they merged the two accounts together. So I have all my old books, but I'm not subscribed anymore. So
yeah, they let you keep your credits, right? All the credits that you paid for.
No, because they're refunding me the $200.
Oh, they're just giving you the money back. Okay, okay, I get it now.
I'm like, all right, well, I'll take that money back, and I will buy Dune Messiah.
Yeah. Nixie says, Mike, stop using your mom's credit card.
Well, here's the thing. I have a secondary credit card that is under my mom. It's like, my mom's account, and then she got a second card under my name.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like just an extra card in case I need more money than I have. I've had it for years. And so I don't know how they discombobulated it, but somehow or another they moved that account from my credit card to my mom's credit card. And
super friggin' weird.
Whatever. This trans says credit card fraud.
Indeed.
I know, right?
Your consciousness is merged with your mom's now.
Oh no!
That's something weird that happens in Dune, right? So like Aaliyah is talking in Dune Messiah, right? I think it's in Dune Messiah. Aaliyah is thinking about how she can remember when her mom was impregnated with Paul. So it's like she can remember being with her own father and giving birth to her brother, which is like bizarre, right? Because she has her mom's memories. It's messed up.
Yeah. That's
super strange.
Disturbing. All right, what?
Crispy says, LMO, why am I listening to random people talk about credit card scam in the middle of the night? I don't know why you're here, honestly. I don't even know why I'm here. I don't know why anything is here. Isn't that the meaning of life, to figure it out?
I know, right?
Why are we here?
So random, dude. I haven't even streamed today. This is the first time I've been on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, I've been popping on. I think I'm gonna start streaming and then like putting the streams in like an unlisted playlist on my channel.
Yeah, I saw you mention that earlier. I said that
Yeah.
I think that's a really good plan.
Secret streams.
That allows you to maintain the views, but somehow it doesn't mess with your algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Secret stream. So if you want to go back and watch this after we're done streaming, then you can find it on that secret playlist. And you can also find the secret playlist from last night where I read the opening to Tadia. People were really digging it. I read the opening just a little bit, give people a little taste. People were super into it. So yeah, you can go back and watch that stream, people. Quinn, you could use my face as a couch. Oh my God. So where
I don't think that would be comfortable though.
I don't think it would be very comfortable.
Unless you're like Jabba the Hutt big.
Got a very wide face.
Oh my gosh, there was a video. I saw it on Twitter of a dude, and he was like sitting on a spinning stool, and he's like talking, and he spins, and the stool drops like 8 inches.
Oh, I did see that.
And then he gets up, and the pole is sticking out, and it's like
pain.
Hard metal thing. I'm like,
I don't even want to see how that resolved itself. I don't even want to see.
I played it sort of several times, and every single time my stomach just went like,
the cringe. Someone says, aren't people complaining about SJWs? Also, SJWs in and of themselves, wearing ones of a different uniform, flying a different flag, but still fighting, vocalizing for their own ideas of social justice. I was just saying this earlier. I feel like the people that really go off complaining, it's on both sides, man. And they're both crybabies. You don't need to complain every time there's something in a movie that you don't agree with. I'll never understand that. Like, I read books and watch stuff all the time where I'm like, I don't agree with that, but whatever. It's a good story. I don't have to like like be like, I'm never gonna watch this thing or to have any association with this ever again because they've ruined this thing. They've ruined my childhood. That's what I see all the time. It's always like, they've ruined my childhood.
How dare you?
How dare you? I mean, you can still go back and watch those old things from your childhood, right? It's like, right? It's like, I love like the 1970 Where Are You, Scooby-Doo? That is my Scooby-Doo. None of the other Scooby-Doo shows are good. They all suck. I'll never watch any of them. But I don't like, but they make a new Scooby-Doo show like every 5 years, right?
I know.
And it's like, I'm never like, oh, this is ruining my childhood because they made a new Scooby-Doo and the characters suck now. It's just, I just don't watch it. I mean, my childhood is still intact. I still have all those memories. It's fine. It's fine.
It's I don't know. I just call it outrage culture, man. All these guys, they just need stuff to complain about because the stuff that you saw it in your own channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
You saw the explosion when you turned on Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Right? People, it's clickbait. Outrage culture is clickbait, and I know you did it because you were legitimately upset, but some people that are just like, well, I got to be legitimately upset about something today, so let's.
Yeah, I feel like people.
You know,
I think it's super easy for me to like pick out when people are just complaining just to complain because especially when I know something. It's just like why I don't buy the Picard complainers because I'm just like, you're complaining about this, but you're acting like this is different from what Picard would have done in TNG. I mean, like this is a different man. Someone said, super chat, Distran, the glorious deformed, says, have you ever read Gene Wolfe? I have not. Would you do you have anything that you recommend? Do you guys think Cal Kalinske reads A Song of Ice and Fire? I don't know. I don't know if Cal Kalinske reads A Song of Ice and Fire. Be interesting. He is a popular YouTuber, political left-wing guy.
Huh.
Yeah. Kyle Kalinske. His channel is called Secular Talk.
I have a Kalinske right here. Kalinske. This is called a Kalinske Sable brush. Wow, look how sharp that came in. Yeah. So
Jerry Foster, are you joking around? You know Bernie is Jewish, right? You do know that, right?
He is Jewish. This is true.
He's Jewish. Oh, the new book of the Sun. I have heard of that book. Yeah, I should read it. I should definitely. That's a classic from what I hear. That is a classic from what I hear. Notorious season 8 of Game of Thrones. Yeah, man. Season 8 of Game of Thrones was another thing that was just like, I mean, look, I don't think I necessarily had a point where I like Game of Thrones posting videos about Game of Thrones on this channel. The show was already to the point where it was already kind of just like teetering off, right? Where I was always like, because I started off initially and I was like, Song of Ice and Fire is all I care about. All I care about is the books. I'm not even going to use imagery from the show. So if you look at my like videos about A Song of Ice and Fire, it's just I'm not using pictures from the show. I'm using like artwork that people have drawn based off of book characters, and I'm not referencing the show at all. But then as my channel got bigger and bigger and bigger, people were always like, "Oh, the show is out. Why don't you like start talking about the show?" So when the show started airing, what I decided, I'm not gonna make theory videos based on the show. That's not my thing. But when it started airing again, when another season came, I think it was season 5 or 6 that I started first reviewing it. I started reviewing each episode, and so I would just say what I liked and what I didn't like, and then sometimes I'd be like, I see the roots of like it getting worse, and then it just progressively got worse and worse, and I became like more and more, I guess, kind of bitter and just like mad. And then at some point, I think in like 2018, I started posting videos like, this is the episode that ruined the show. And, you know, people were really mad about those videos at first, right? Like mad. It wasn't until season 8 when the ball like dropped and they had that like explosion of garbage. That was season 8.
Yeah.
And everybody recognized it, that people went back and they were like, oh my God, this guy is right. So I had like a secondary surge from people that now wanted to hate on the show, and I don't know, felt it was cathartic too. Yeah.
I hear ya. I'll hear ya. Sorry, I just ate, so I've got like phlegm.
Yeah. It is fine. Anyone know if Chapter House will be summarized in future material? Yes. My Chapter House video is coming, and it will be the best in the series so far. That will be the best because it's
Jason,
the most recent one.
See Jason Colley.
What do you say?
Liet Kynes was a flat dooner.
Liet Kynes. That's another part of the controversy. Or no, it's a rumor. This is one of the rumors with the new Dune movie. The actress, the British actress who's a black lady, Sharon Duncan Brewster, may have been cast as Liet Kynes. But it is a rumor. No one knows. It's just a rumor. And you look at the IMDb page, it doesn't say what role she's playing. I think she could potentially be the character that shout out Mapes. I think that makes a little bit of sense. But if she is, but people are really upset about the Liet Kynes, quote unquote, gender swap. But I was thinking, if she was, I felt like Denis Villeneuve, one, probably did it for a reason. If it's true, I think what he's doing I think he'll probably marry Liet Kynes, the female version, to Stilgar, and then Stilgar and Liet Kynes, Chani will be their daughter together. And that'll just be his way of kind of like streamlining the narrative, if that is true. But if it isn't true, but whether or not it's true anyway, right? Liet Kynes is not a major character at all. I mean, as long as her history, his history, whatever, with the ecology of Dune remains the same, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Liet Kynes is gender swapped or not. It really doesn't. Not a big character.
I'm gonna disagree. Only in that there are already so many strong female roles in Dune. It just doesn't seem like it would. It seems like it would be opportunistic.
But I would
swap another role.
I mean, I would wonder why it was done, right? You know, if I feel like
I would also,
if it was done to serve the narrative in a way that makes it like a little bit less confusing, because when you talk about like the Fremen genealogy, like Chani is related to Stilgar, I think, in like some vague weird way. But it's like when you're making a movie, you want people to like know who exactly these people are, and I feel like just being like, okay, Liet Kynes, we're just going to switch him to a girl and then have Stilgar be Chani's dad. I feel like it would just be like a streamlining process because she's gonna die anyway, right? She dies very early on, right? And it's not even like he or she, whatever, has a major role. It really doesn't. It's just like they're there and then they're gone. But you know, we'll see. But I still say Sharon Duncan Brewster is probably the shout out Mapes. But I could be wrong. We'll see. We'll see when the trailer comes out, perhaps. We will see. Apparently, the script for Dune leaked.
Oh,
yeah.
Is he roboting for anybody else, or is that just me?
What was it?
I was just wondering if you're roboting for anybody else, or if it was just for me.
I don't know. Am I roboting? Do I sound like a robot, people? I got a super chat. What's up, man? New to your channel. I've seen some of your Dune vids, and it encouraged me to rent the book from my local library. Keep up the good work. Yes. More and more people read Dune. Get into Dune. See, I get those comments like all the time. It's really interesting. Someone said I was briefly robotic. It's the simulation is messing up.
So it wasn't just me. That's all. So it's not on my end. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Dang it. The masters of the simulation are having a hard time, you know, maintaining. I don't know, something's going wrong. It's getting too crazy in here.
Universe.
YouTube channel said you wrote a book, right? Whoa, indeed. Tadia. On the stream from last night, which you can find on the live stream playlist on my channel, I actually read a little bit of Tadia. I read the opening of it, and you can get put on the mailing list, link in the description.
By the way, everyone, like and share if you have not already.
Yes, like and share the stream if you have not done already. Indeed. Okay, Bright and Glory says, changing the characters can be perceived as a critique of the author. And in that case, I would certainly suggest that people create their own material rather than altering another's to suit an agenda. I see where you're coming from. Because I tend to hate where, they go in and completely alter a character, right? But then there are certain things, I guess, that work better in like movies than in books. I get that. Like it's with Game of Thrones. Like I wasn't always mad at all of their decisions, right? There were some things where I was like, okay, I understand why you did this. And I feel like the Night King was one of those things initially where I was like, okay, I get why they did the Night King. The Night King he's kind of, you got the great other in the book who's kind of like this ethereal, like unseen thing. So you need like a physical thing to be there as the villain in the show. So I understood why they did that. I mean, I guess so. So some changes are okay if they make sense and they serve the narrative. Stephen Ernest, what is the subject matter of Tadia? Yeah, you almost spelled it right. Just put an H after the D. Tadia is about witches, right? It is about witches in a fictional kingdom called Marath. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I told you guys last night on the secret stream from last night that I was watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is a cool show. And there was this whole thing throughout the show where they worshipped Lucifer, but recently,
oh yeah, I saw you know about that on Twitter.
in the second season, they unseated Lucifer, so it's like, oh, they're gonna worship Lilith now. In the last freaking episode, they're having like this ritual, and they're like, oh, she's like, I know what we must do, and they're doing this ritual, and she's like, I call to thee the triple goddess, and I'm like, wait a goddamn second, triple goddess, what is she saying? And she says, the mother, we call to thee, we beseech thee, Hecate. And I lost my I was like, are you serious? After all this time, and the last episode, after I spent so long writing a story about witches that worship the goddess Hecate or Hecate, whatever you want to call her, they suddenly switch over from Satan to Hecate. Are you kidding me? And then right at the end, they're like, oh, I think we need a new, we're not going to be the Church of Night anymore. We're going to be the Order of Hecate, the Order of Hecate. We're going to be the Order of Hecate, right? Which sounds so similar to Daughters of Hecate, which is from my series. So I'm just like, God, what divine force is out to get me right now?
It's parallel development, dude. This has happened to me. I literally did. I came up with a movie it was a time travel movie about a time cop, like in 2001, I think. And I'm just sitting on my bed, and this commercial comes on with Bruce Willis, and I'm watching this commercial, and I'm like, this is exactly like my story. And then at the end, the title comes up, and it's Looper, and my story was called The Loop. And I was like, what the? And the thing is, I had pitched it to a director in Hollywood, but I don't think he was related to Rian Johnson or at all. But it was just parallel development happens, and I was just like, I was so irritated.
It is irritating. I'm not gonna change the name or anything because I watched the show, and it almost seemed like it was kind of an afterthought in that show. And since like they're I don't know when the next season of that is gonna come on, so they have a whole like, I don't know, they've got months and months before that's gonna come out. So I'm hoping I can put out my graphic novel before like whatever the next thing they do. I think the next thing they do is like the last season. But I mean, it was kind of different. The way Hecate is in my thing is different. They're really just using the name, it seems like. So it's not like it's like crazy similar or anything.
Right.
But yeah. So I was like, oh my God, am I gonna have to change the name? I mean, how are we gonna make it a different goddess? But I can't do that. There's too much in it that's like that's Hecate, so I can't do that. But
someone said, you're still talking politics? How is this politics?
Are y'all still talking politics? Enough, LMAO. I mean, we're not even doing it. What are you talking about? So I was saying earlier, right? The stream is titled Politics, Science Fiction, and Other, whatever it's titled. And then on the thumbnail, I'm sure they can see the Bernie shirt. So it's like you click on the stream, you read the title, you see the thumbnail, and then you complain about it. Yeah. Politics. It's so stupid, so bizarre.
Yep. And I was in there, man, and I said, look, man, I'm a Trumper. Quinn here is a burn victim, and so we get along great. If the whole world could manage this, it'd be fantastic. Just because you
Indeed.
disagree doesn't mean you have to dislike each other. Or bail on somebody because they don't toe the line on your politics.
Mhm.
You know, that's
David Patterson says y'all are. David Patterson. They said he was talking about the chat, not us.
oh, okay.
Mhm. Interesting. Even still can't say your name, but thank you for the super chat. Audio just leaks from 2018 Trump dinner. They all agree it would have been tougher if they didn't rig it against Bernie. All laugh at Biden running. Yes, I just saw that. I just saw that. Like Trump was like, he was like Bernie. He said Bernie was the only one that I was afraid of. He was like, I'm so glad you didn't pick Bernie. Who did Hillary Clinton pick? Tim
He's the
Kaine.
only one that has a ground game that actually cares about him. You know,
Yeah.
nobody cares about Elizabeth Warren. Nobody cares about Joe Biden. I still, if they don't rig it against Bernie, I'll be surprised. Or at least if they don't try, I'll be surprised. But yeah, like I said, I think I'm 60-40. It's going to be Biden just because of how the shenanigans in the DNC. But 40 is a pretty good chance for Bernie to.
Frank says Bernie has 0 chance. Okay, I mean he's leading in
being
the
the
polls.
Democratic nominee. I would
mean,
never say that.
He's leading. He's leading in. I mean, people say that, but I'm just like, what do you have like an IV of MSNBC and CNN going into your veins constantly? Because that's the only way I could see somebody saying that, because like he's leading in like almost every poll, and then leading in Iowa, leading in New Hampshire. I'm just like the 2 most predictive states. I'm just saying, I don't know. It doesn't seem like 0 chance. Man.
And it was just crazy how they just straight up stole it from him last time around. I mean, what was it, New Hampshire, where Clinton, like Bernie won the popular vote, but they gave it to Clinton anyways?
I don't know. But I don't know exactly what it was, but it's a lot of cheating with super delegates and just a lot of like massive stuff.
So no, I wouldn't put it. I give him pretty good chances.
Feeling the burn.
Politics will stay the same to force man into needing no politics. Well, the problem is that the talking heads, it's just like the outrage stuff, right? The outrage stuff is what sells on the news channels. It's what keeps people, keeps feeding the beast. And as long as there is money in news, they're going to want to try to chase those ratings. And that means they are going to pull out the outrage. Just like YouTube and Star Wars and Star Trek. And trust me, it'll happen with Dune. It's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
We have to be better than that.
Indeed. Gavin McGinnis says, fake news, mainstream media is biased against Bernie. I definitely see that.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, politics can be messy just because I think people fail to listen. That's the thing. People don't want to listen to other people, and it's just like, just take a step back. Because I like, even when I started the stream, I've already seen comments of people just being like, oh my God, I don't like this. I gotta click off this. You're talking about politics. I don't agree. I hate Bernie. I'm clicking off this. Unsubscribe. Time to unsubscribe. And you're a Bernie supporter, and it's just like, I don't know. Whatever. Stop being a jerk.
And there's a funny thing about that is that most of your content is just, it's about fantasy, it's about books, it's about science fiction, it's about all this great stuff. But are you not allowed? And I go back and forth. Actors, they have their platform. They want to speak their opinions. Granted, they may not always be the most enlightened individuals. Whatever. It's still their right? I'm not going to stop watching Alec Baldwin because he's a nut. I think he's hella funny. I think he's a fantastic actor. Him being a nut just is part of the right. I mean, even the way he like talked to his daughter, it's not like it's not my job to forgive him, right? But I'm not gonna discount the fact that he is very good at what he does, and I enjoy what he does. And if you enjoy what people do on YouTube, allow them, allow me, allow Quinn, allow everybody their opinions. It's okay. You don't have to agree. I don't agree with everybody in my own family. It's fine. It's not the end of the world.
Jeff Potts says blue is not your color. Jeff Potts, why don't you show yourself? Why don't you take a selfie and post it?
Who is not your color?
Blue is not my color.
Oh, blue is not.
I don't know if he's making a joke about Democrat or what, but Lies in Politics says UBI is inevitable. Talking about universal basic income, Andrew Yang's idea. Both parties will be for it eventually once automation makes it unavoidable.
Well,
Andrew Yang's big thing is automation, isn't it?
There's an interesting thing that I think I mentioned this to you before. You ever the concept of a negative income tax was floated in the late 70s by Martin Friedman. I think it's probably somewhere in the scope of the concept of a universal basic income for people who just can't survive, right? Who don't reach a certain threshold. And I never really got too deep into studying what that was because, like I said, it was in the late 70s. Martin Friedman or Milton Friedman was a full-on, Austrian economics expert. And, I agreed with almost everything he says because it's just so matter of fact. But I'd be interested to see if his plan and this universal basic income thing are similar enough that you could actually peel off some libertarians, some conservatives, along with the people on the other side to just see what could happen. I will admit I don't know enough about either to have an actual well-formed opinion, but it is just something that I remember from the old videos and whatnot.
Rager says former KGB officer Yuri Bezmenov explains the 4 stages of ideological subversion: demoralization, destabilization, 3 crisis, and normalization.
You ever watched that video?
I have not.
Yeah, he's an old KGB dude who came over here, I think defected in the 80s from the KGB, and he was telling the reporter or whatever what exactly the Soviet Union was doing to demoralize America as a culture. And it's like watching it now, you're like, holy crap.
Super bizarre. Will you see The Color Out of Space?
For a long time.
Yeah. So The Color Out of Space is like a new Nicolas Cage movie that's based off of Lovecraft's story, The Color Out of Space, which is where this thing lands near this like farmhouse somewhere, and it poisons everything, creates all these like giant messed up plants and fruits, drive the people mad. Something from outer space. It's this weird, indescribable color, right? And so we'll see what happens. I'll go see it definitely, and we'll see if it's any good or not. Quinn, you just won me over even more with your shit. Okay, cool. All right.
Frank wants to know who I am.
If you're watching the stream, throw in a like.
That's right. And share it.
Yeah.
You must share.
Just throw in a like to counter all the butthurt people that are mad because I have a political opinion that doesn't conform to what they want it to be. Right?
Don't you know, Quinn, you must be a cipher so that they can think their political opinions are your political opinions.
I must be an empty cipher with no political opinions or beliefs on anything.
Correct.
Even though, I've been covering 2 of the most, like the Song of Ice and Fire has plenty of political stuff going on, and Dune certainly has plenty of political stuff going on. So expect me, as a person that goes in depth in Dune and explains like the politics of the in-world politics of the universe, not to have like real political opinions and beliefs on things that exist out in the real world is kind of ridiculous. Look, I don't know how people can't just predict that I would support Bernie Sanders. right? Wouldn't that be like something that you would predict from my videos?
No,
Wouldn't it? It wouldn't be. I
no,
think
because I listen to you and I know you're more libertarian, left libertarian, and Sanders is more socialist. And I don't know who I would predict you would be, but I don't know who fits your particular mold right now in the Democratic Party.
I mean, more than anybody, Bernie.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I wouldn't know. You'd know.
Oh, there he goes. It came back up.
Yeah.
Came back up. It's weird. It's weird Streamlabs stuff. Bishop says society needs reassurance.
Tulsi, everybody just says Tulsi.
Tulsi? Think I'm close. I don't think I'm closer to Bernie than Tulsi.
I don't know. I think I just don't. I don't know the minutia of all the. I really haven't been paying much attention the last couple of years to politics. I used to pay way too much attention, but what the heck? Political season's ramping up, so maybe maybe next time I will wear my Trump shirt. You can wear your Bernie shirt, and we'll do a whole.
Perhaps. I think people say Quinn is Tulsi. I don't think so. I mean, why do you say that? What do I agree more with Tulsi on than Bernie? I don't think there's much, right? I really don't think there is. Can you Google Murray Bookchin and Rojava? I don't know. I'm kind of weird when people tell me to Google random things.
Can't you just Google whatever random thing they want you to? Jeez. Man, you keep locking up. I don't know if you can hear me. Good policy, Quinn. What up? I agree. Bernie is a moderate lib-elite. I wish he were a little more extreme, but he's the best option there is. How extreme do you want to go? Quinn is a booklitarian from Tulsa. Okay. I'm just going to keep reading chats while he is in frozen zone. He's in... Can you see me? Quinn. Hello. Frozen Quinn. Quinn, what your magic system like? Quinn is just practicing standing very still. This guy is a communist, Frank. Oh no, it's the Mike Miller show now. I have complete control of your...
I'm back. Could you guys hear me?
No, you were gone for like 45 seconds or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. My internet just went away.
Yeah,
I've had weird
and just close Chrome and restart it.
Yeah. Really super strange. I got a super chat in that time, it seems like. So Sarn Zero says, I just finished book 1 of the Lycanis trilogy by James Islington. Have you heard of it? /read it. I'm halfway through book 2 and enjoying it. Great world building and plot. I have not yet, but I will add that to my list. I'll add that to my mental list. Don Spartan says Quinn 2020. Who's going to vote for Quinn in 2020? Let's do it.
What are you going to run for?
I run on a platform of social democracy. Wait, what am I going to run for? President, obviously.
How old are you, Quinn?
I am 866.
Oh, okay. Then you do.
No one knows it. Yeah.
Oh. I'm like, there are rules,
Storm Bay says Trump is a racist. Stand Bernie. Vote blue no matter who. Christwell 4 says, I'll vote for you. Oh, thank you. Lucifer, you want to come on?
Hey, Dave, what's up?
You want to come on? I'll send you the link if you want to come on. We're just like
politics, bro.
We're hanging out. We're chatting about everybody. A bunch of people are mad. A bunch of people are mad that I even, have the audacity to come onto my own channel with the Bernie shirt on.
Yeah.
People are really upset that I have this Bernie shirt on. It's
Why do you
crazy.
have opinions, Quinn? Why do you have opinions?
I know, right? Usually I do live streams and, you know, people don't dislike them, but I think people literally like just clicked on this, saw the Bernie shirt and disliked it. So like I said, just hit the thumbs up to counter the butthurt, right?
That's right.
And look, there's somebody watching this live stream right now that's so butthurt that I just talked about the dislikes and they just disliked it. They're so butthurt that I'm streaming right now that they disliked it while I'm streaming.
You know what?
Because
I did share this out on Twitter, so it's entirely possible that some of my trolls came here to dislike it.
They were all, see, somebody else did it too. See them, they're so mad. They're so mad. They're so mad.
PBH says seething.
They're so upset. It's so funny. Like you're like the butt hurtness like drives me is hilarious. It's hilarious. But LML, if you want to come on, I will shoot you the link on. I'm gonna give you the link, LML, on Twitter, just in case you want to just pop on.
Do you want to share the link now? I want to find that video of the dude with the stool.
Oh my god.
It's because if you want to know what butt hurt really is,
oh, that's like serious. That should be the meme that you just like tweet to people when they're upset about something. There you go. Do whatever this dude did afterwards to get rid of the pain, and then maybe you'll be fine.
He had to go to the emergency room. That thing
yeah,
sharp metal edges on it.
I can just imagine it tearing. I bet it wasn't. I bet the pain wasn't immediate, right? I bet it was like,
I'm sure he went into shock.
Yeah, and it was just like, and then he just slowly started to feel the pain. That's crazy. Oh man.
Gosh. Okay, somebody posted a picture of like a dude in Asia just I
don't want to see it.
Bit the head off a frog and now he's slurping up its intestines and stuff. Raw.
That's
what's
gross.
happening.
No. Oh, that's disgusting. Dude, is that a real bridge or just the backdrop?
He's only got one arm.
Mike is actually a 100 millionaire, and he lives in like this crazy mansion, and he just has a bridge enterprise room. You know?
Do you want to see the awesome frog video?
No. I don't need to see this. M Gabriel says, "What is this channel?" You know, this is a secret late night stream. This is what I do. You know, that is what this channel is. What is this channel?
Dude, legit, dude, he's got one arm. He's a one-armed dude chomping down on a live frog.
Ugh.
You don't want to see this?
No.
He's doing it again. You know what? I was going to send a link to the thing, but I'm not a mod on your channel, Quinn. What the hell?
Oh, just comment something. Someone just said something about the coronavirus. Sounds like a coronavirus transmission, right? I don't know anything about this weird, creepy virus that's going around, but it's scary. But it seems like every few years there is a weird virus or disease that's happening that everyone just becomes terrified of for a while. Like there was like swine flu and then Ebola, and now it's the coronavirus. Everyone's always waiting for the apocalypse to happen. The apocalypse.
Oh, this is disgusting. All right, warning, people. It's in the chat. It's gross, but enjoy.
Click that link at your own discretion. Quinn, have you started? What you see? Quinn, have you started reading a Glockanda story yet? Too. How can I get my bookmark for being a super patron? Yeah. So a Glockanda story is a book about vampires that I was given last year. Was it last year at JordanCon? Last year at JordanCon, right? And it's been on my shelf. And you know, I haven't done the Patreon bookmarks for a while. The Patreon bookmarks were a thing like a couple years ago. You know, I stopped with the bookmark thing. Fit Toll says, "Here's another 10 for the excellent content and personality." The Dune videos in particular, I often have.
Oh my gosh.
I often have on while
a live baby rat.
Oh my goodness, Mike.
why are people posting all this stuff on Twitter? Oh, it's disgusting.
I don't know. I don't watch that kind of stuff.
Oh my goodness.
The Dune videos in particular, I often have on while I'm working, chilling, and I know it takes a lot of time and effort. Yeah. When it comes to the Dune videos, like we've got it's done in levels, or there's a process, right? So it's research, rereading the book over and over and over again. I'm like looking at stuff on the internet, looking at other people's opinions on what's happening in the books, just looking at everything I possibly can. And then the next step is making the script, rewriting it over and over again, taking out what I think doesn't need to be in there, streamlining it in places that I feel like it needs to be streamlined. And then after the script is done, then the part is getting the audio work done, which can be very stressful because I always want it to be super perfect. It involves a lot of like stopping, going, editing certain parts out, re-saying certain stuff. Because, there's certain parts that need to sound like epic. So it's really like I'm performing certain voices. Like, right, I'm performing the God Emperor. I'm performing whatever character that it is. And so so there's a process of editing all the audio. And then after the audio work is done, then I take the audio and I put it into the video editing software. And then it's the process of, making it move and making it kind of be like a motion movie picture thing. There's a lot of Photoshop work, cropping faces and figures out of the art and then creating like layers where there's like wind or dust blowing in the background and then like smoke or something in the front. So it's a lot of work. And then with the new Chapter House one, I've obviously got a lot of new art that's coming in that I'm commissioning. And that's why I say it's going to be the best one yet, because I'm employing all the skills that I've learned over the years, producing videos, producing the Dune videos, producing everything, putting it into this one episode. And I just want it to be really good and really perfect. And I want it to be the best one yet. So that's why the Chapter House video is taking a really long time. But thank you so much for the super chat. And yeah.
I don't know.
Indeed. Alicia Kingston says, send David the link, dude. I did. I sent it to you on Twitter, Dave. I sent it on Twitter. He's just taking his time. He's putting on his makeup. He's getting beautiful. He's got to get beautiful before he comes on the stream.
You're so beautiful.
I sent it on Twitter, LML. I'll send it again. Because he just texted me like, send the link.
Like a tree.
Okay, I gotta say, I just left the stream by accident. I'm copying the link. Sent on Twitter. All right, LML is coming. We sent it on Twitter.
Right on.
Sent on Twitter. Vossman Darkstar says, I just wish we could get a Democratic candidate who wasn't trying, but let me put that up on the screen. Who wasn't trying to take gun rights. I'm worried Trump will try and become a dictator. How are we supposed to deal with that unarmed? I don't know if Trump is gonna try and take away gun rights because like his base would completely turn on him, I think.
No. He's saying he wants a Democratic candidate who wasn't trying to take away gun rights.
But he also says that I'm worried that Trump will try.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's his worry. But that's, you know what? That's why, left or right, that's why everyone should be for gun rights, because that's the whole point of the Second Amendment, is if someone does try to become a dictator, they can't.
Yeah.
Kind of hard when your population is armed.
Indeed. you know, the gun issue is so.
Actually, I don't even know where Bernie stands on that.
He doesn't want to ban guns. He's pro, regulation, and background checks, simple things like that. I think most Democrats aren't like ban guns. I think it's more like regulation. What's up, LML?
What up?
What's up, bro?
We're just chatting.
I'm here to make some mistakes live on the internet. Let's do this.
Same. Just making all types of mistakes here.
No, I'm kidding. I'm actually here to do the opposite. Let me pull up the comments though, so I can see what is happening. This is total chaos. People have asked me to do politics on YouTube, and I have always gotten my 10-foot pole out and kept it well away.
Well, I figured. I figured I'm starting this thing where I'm gonna like start streaming more nights, and I'm just gonna put all these streams in an unlisted playlist on the channel, so they'll be there for the people that hunt them down, but they won't just be like on the main channel. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, what have you guys been talking about so far? I just popped this on, so I only
Everything, just like whatever the chat's been wanting to chat about.
Mishmash stream.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing all right. How about you? It's good
You
to
a
see
late
you.
night guy too, like Quinn?
Yeah, but I'm West Coast, so
Okay, yeah. I used to be that way. Now Quinn's the type of guy that like it could be 1:30, and if I have a random thought, I can just text him. I don't have to wonder if he's up or not.
Because I'm a night owl. Like I'm usually always up in the night.
he keeps very interesting hours.
Mistakes? How dare you be a human, David?
How's my mic, guys? I'm not too loud, am I? Sometimes my mic is too hot. I want to make
You
sure.
sound good.
It's glorious.
It's not good to be opinionated and literally loud and in volume. You want to go with one or the other. So
Your top 5 Netflix shows, says Nada L. That's hard. Well, I mean, I've been watching Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The third season wasn't as great as like the previous ones, but you know.
Quinn, have you watched Dark yet? Or my
Dark yet? I still haven't watched Dark season 2. See, look, this is the thing. When it comes to something that I like, and I know I have to like offer all of my mental mind to pay attention to it, I have to wait to watch it. I can't just like put it on like I can just put on other things. I gotta wait for the moment to watch it and absorb it.
That's why I don't watch anime. I love anime, but I never watch it because it's like I want to pay attention to it, and I can't because I'm sitting here drawing. So I usually just put something on I can listen to, and you can't just listen to anime because half the time you have to read it.
Yeah,
Black Mirror is really good. I like Black Mirror. What was that?
I didn't see Black Mirror, but I saw Penny Dreadful mentioned in the chat. That was a good one.
But that's not a Netflix show though. Penny Dreadful is came on Showtime. I think.
I can't remember what's on what hardly ever.
David Patterson, the OA. I hope the OA gets a third seat, gets another chance because the OA so underrated. So because I remember when I first watched the OA, it was after I okay, so something happened, right? And so I was thinking about a lot of things. I was thinking about like death and the afterlife. A lot of that was on my mind. And so I just like stumbled across the OA. And it was like that show was speaking to me because it was all about like all this metaphysical stuff and like what happens after we die and just like, other dimensions and, like just the synchronicity of the universe and all these like crazy concepts and ideas that were already on my mind. So I was like, yeah, I'm so sad it got canceled. Netflix needs
Deep
to bring it
thoughts
back.
with Jack Handy's. Is that what we're doing here?
Yes.
That's cool.
Stranger Things season 3 was disappointing. Someone says I thought season 3 was better than season 2, but
I liked them. I mean, they're not all going to be perfect. So
yeah. Have you watched The Witcher or the show You? I did watch You. I watched all of You. I watched You when the first season came, like last year, and then I recently watched the season 2. It was really good. Have not watched The Witcher though. Dave has though.
You've watched my bastardization of The Witcher, though. That's what's important.
Yeah.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Did you get that? Did you get that one too?
Yeah.
What did you think though, Dave? Because I'm only one episode in, and it's like it looks like the kind of show I don't want to spend the time getting into.
It had good and bad points for me. There was some stuff I liked. It was a little confusing. I didn't think that it was structured well as far as how they told the story. They tried to be overly complicated with the structure when I felt like it would have been better served if they had just given us the story in a straightforward fashion. But it's worth watching. I wouldn't put it high on the list, but I wouldn't get frustrated if you don't understand it. Like it's a little confusing. So by the time you get to the end of the season, you'll figure out more or less what's going on. It's actually
I wasn't confused. Somebody told me about the time lapse thing with the other character, or the time shifting. It's in 2 different time zones. So
it's in 2 different times.
Yeah,
there's 3 characters and they're following him. They're leading up to this one moment when they all intersect, but they're starting backwards in their lives, and you don't.
So it's not just the Witcher show. It's the Witcher plus some other people.
Yeah, there's
I like time stuff when it's all cut up and shit. I mean, I love Memento and I like stuff like that, but this was just it didn't really serve the show. The other thing about Witcher is like it seems like there's a deeper universe underneath of it in the in the books and the games, but the show doesn't do a very good job of telling you what you need to know. And so the people that understand the background lore are enjoying the show a great deal more, I think, than a lot of the people that are just watching it and they're just like, well, why does that matter? What's the law of surprise, or what's this, or
I got a super chat from 9 Nichols, and she says, "Can we expect more Fire and Blood videos soon?" Yeah, I'm definitely going to continue doing Fire and Blood videos, especially now that the show is on the horizon. So you can expect that from me.
Yeah, Expanse is awesome. I was Quinn's reading it, and I'm just watching it. I'm in season 2, and yeah, very, very good, very enjoyable.
Yeah, I tried to watch the first episode of that, but I was sick at the time, so it was like all my faculties weren't, and that seems like a show you really have to pay attention to. So
If it's
I gotta
anything like the book,
another start.
it's like early on. I mean, okay, if you get Dune is like 20,000 years in the future after they've been in space for like 20,000 years, but the Expanse is like it's just the beginning. It's like a fledgling galactic empire, and they're just like it's not even a fledgling. They're not even out of the solar system. Basically, they're still here.
Oh, they're not?
It's like the very beginning.
Hey, Quinn, can we talk about world building for like 5 minutes? I have a world building point I want to make.
Sure. Let me get the super chat first.
Oh, yeah.
But Ray just says, I highly recommend you guys check out the movie Wag the Dog, Dustin Hoffman and Robert De Niro. It's real interesting. I've never seen it.
I remember that.
All right, talk about world building.
Well, I think that efficient world building is worth considering. So, for example, both in The Witcher and in the newest Star Wars movie, there was a problem where there's more information that's not in the movie or in the show proper that helps things make sense that really should have been in the movie. At D&D are famous for this too. They'll give you information in the post-show deal where you're like they're telling you what the characters were thinking, and you're like, well, that really should have been communicated in the show proper. You shouldn't have to explain to us what happened in order for it to make sense. So I think that it's worth, when you look at something like A Song of Ice and Fire, or Dark, or any other thing that's really well done, it's worth noticing how they slip in the world building in such a way that it is not clunky, but you get the necessary information when you need to get it. We were talking about Azor Ahai the other day, and Daenerys, and the idea of how Game of Thrones, is George going to end it with having Jon stab Dany? And I feel strongly that it isn't, because of the whole Azor Ahai thing. I feel like the Azor Ahai myth is a trick, right? Mm-hmm. They tell you about this horrible hero who stabs his wife to make a flaming sword to save the world. And you're like, damn, that's some messed up shit, But the thing is that George gives us that story in Davos's chapter. And immediately after hearing the story, Davos is like, damn. Imagine, he said Davos pictured his wife, a good woman, round with, plump breasts, and she has 7 children and a nice smile. And I couldn't imagine stabbing her, even if the world depended on it. And Davos is like, I guess I'm just not the stuff of heroes. But that's actually the reaction we're supposed to have to the Azor Ahai myth, is like, wait a minute, I couldn't do that. That's evil.
Like, how does that make sense?
You know what I'm saying? So the whole Azor Ahai thing is a little bit of a false ideal, but the world building is done in such a way that it's the counterpoint is Davos's reaction. And Davos is a very human character that we relate to a lot.
Yeah.
So it's world building that accomplishes like more than one thing at a time. And if you look at the way George does it, he's constantly doing that. He's accomplishing many things at once when he world builds.
Sarn Zero says, I'm gonna let you finish, but Mr. Robot was the best TV show of the decade.
I'm gonna let you finish.
I haven't even watched season 4 yet. I'm waiting.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, but yeah, I like it a lot.
Is it the last season?
I think so. Yeah. So yeah, that show's part of the reason I'm so paranoid about hackers. I'm like, hackers, man.
Yeah.
Have any of you read the Berserk and the manga? No, I have not, but it's been recommended a bunch of times.
Dave, I agree with your points. The thing that didn't stick to me about The Witcher wasn't the world building stuff, though. It was just the execution. It was, I don't know. It was lackluster compared to some of the other stuff, I guess. I mean, it's better than some, not as good as others, but I don't know if it's not like it was cheesy, but it just felt like it was heading down cheesy avenue.
Which one?
The
Witcher.
Witcher.
Oh, you know, I felt like it had problems of tone consistency where it couldn't decide how serious it wanted to be. Sometimes it was a little campy, which was fine. Like if that's what you want to do. Other times it was trying to be more serious. There was some consistency problems.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. So just a thought experiment. How could the revolt of the proletariat, I don't know how to say that, bro. I don't know how to say it, take place in Westeros? But that's like
Idiot.
that's like when so it's like the common people stepping forward, or just like the working class, like overthrowing the ruling class, basically.
Well, generally revolutions happen when two things are present, and I'm just pulling this out of my ass, so feel free to disagree with me. One is like the injustice reaches a boiling point that forces people to put down whatever they're normally doing and pick up weapons, okay? And then the other thing is that there's some sort of rallying person or point or idea. So like we have the Sparrows in Westeros. The injustice of the War of the Five Kings reached the point where people had to do something different. And people were forced out of their homes and their families are torn apart. And so we have a quasi-revolutionary force
I shall be back
right now with the Sparrows. They have a high sparrow, they have a leader, they have an institution, they have a wrong they're trying to redress. So this has the makings of a revolution. When you talk about just the basic downtrodden people of Westeros, again, there has to be some sort of like sometimes it's like a merchant class that can lead a revolt against a sort of corrupt nobility, but there's not really a strong merchant class in Westeros. I think it's more like the religious sources, or the other thing that can happen is sometimes just a simple collapse of the hierarchy, either from their own corruption or from external forces like disasters or the others invading and things like that. Like I've talked a lot about the Long Night as being a cultural bottleneck, simply because when you have a global famine and war and drought, you're going to have chaos, and it's going to be very hard for anybody to maintain power. And so all the power structures are going to be toppled, and you're going to have new, structures and ways of being sort of rise up in their wake. So we could be headed for a little more revolution if to tie it back to the main story. Like in the TV show, they made a joke out of it, and Sam's like, well, we could vote or something. And everyone's like, because those are the High Lords. It's funny to them. They don't want to give up power. But in the books, I do think that we
I have
could
returned.
be headed towards something slightly more democratic, in that I see Bran's potential kingship as being a transitionary kingship. I think the whole point of him potentially getting the whole WeirdNet downloaded into him, maybe
Lauren's corner is here,
and being somebody who can't have children, is that he'll preside over a transformation, sort of be the last king, create a council, spread the power out a little bit. But
I'm gonna ask Lauren if she wants to come on. Hey, Lauren's corner, you want to come on? You want to come on to the stream? I'll send you the link.
Oh, she's a real shit starter now. That's gonna be
Lauren. Let me know if you want to come on, and I'll send you the link on Twitter. Yeah,
she'll come on.
It's not
even late where she is.
I think what you were saying, I think that's is if you distract, or if it's just the circumstance that the people have a common enemy, then that distracts from people who otherwise might be in such a state, like the serfs in the Soviet Union. They were back when it was the Mongols attacking them, back when it was, fighting against the different states in Europe. There's less of a need to rise up to notice the problem in your own power structure, right? Because it's your power structure that is helping you to survive from the external forces that are attacking you. It's kind of like this mythical, if aliens came and invaded the earth, then all the nations of the world would unite against them. That's
what happens in Watchmen.
Oh, really?
Well, that's like the plot of the end of Alan Moore's
right.
Because you got Ozymandias. That was his whole plan.
Yeah. So as long as Westeros is in a situation where there is, if it had been the Targaryens, well, actually, that's what happened with the Targaryens, right? The Targaryens had this stasis, this they held the entire continent together, and then ultimately, through discontent, if that's a simple way to put it, they wrote that the people did rise up. That was kind of your, except for it was in that that they already had their rulers and whatnot, but it was the people rising up. They all the different factions fought against the dragon and toppled it, but all they did was end up implementing the same governmental structure, just with a different person.
It was really like the great houses that turned the Targaryens, though. It wasn't like,
oh yeah, that's
people.
right. Yeah, because what Brienne was saying is like, it was better under the Targs.
Like the people, I think, have a totally different opinion. Because I was thinking about, like, I think today, like, we watch like the news all the time. We see it, but in Westeros, it's like they don't got news, they don't got newspaper. It's just hearsay, whatever. They've never seen what the king looks like. They don't know any of that stuff. So it's like they don't know that the Mad King was like crazy and burning people. All they know is like, hey, my crops were good. I was fed. Like everything wasn't burnt and horrible.
That's why the Maester conspiracy theories are the best, is because their monopoly on information sets them up to just do all kinds of bad things if they wanted to with the Ravens.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't know what you have done to your chat, but you have poured gasoline like all over it.
Oh, me? What's going on in the chat?
Oh, just everything. Just everything. I mean, once you open the politics can of worms.
I mean, I opened it, so
all here.
I opened it, Dave.
Is this my fault?
No, it was just I just wanted
politics on my channel for about the last 2 weeks straight, almost every night.
No, it was triggered by the Star Trek losers.
Oh, okay.
That won't they have all these like silly like little nitpicks that don't make any sense and just really expose the fact that they were probably never really fans of like Picard and his whole thing or Next Generation in the first place.
Well,
it's like because
is that the people who accuse everyone else of being snowflakes are often the biggest snowflakes themselves. But
I mean, I saw a video where there was someone like almost crying over like how she didn't like the way Picard was going. And I'm just like,
name names.
I'm not saying who it was, but it's like it's someone that only gets views when they're complaining really hard about something. And I'm always seeing them on Twitter like post about like, oh my god, SJW this. And I saw them before the show even complained out, posting about how it was going to be SJW. And then she puts out the video finally, just like all nearly crying about like I love TOS and I love Next Generation so much, but this is not my Picard. And nitpick because what. I'm just like. Did you really watch TNG? Or are you just saying it? Are you just saying? I feel she comes across as like fake nerd girl. Fake nerd girl is what I see. That's what it screams to me. But I'm not gonna say.
Here's the thing about politics, man, is that you can, and this is a good super chat. We'll get this in a second. If it's the thing about having a conversation about anything that's potentially sensitive or controversial, is that the two people or more, whoever is in the people are in the conversation, need to maintain respect and empathy for each other. As long as that happens, the goal is to actually hear what someone else is saying and understand it instead of like finding a way to twist it around and turn it into a barb. Then you can have a productive conversation. But I'm of the firm opinion that you can't really have a productive political conversation with random people on the internet that you don't know, because the odds of you maintaining empathy and respect for each other throughout that conversation are very, very low. And without that, it's just a rhetorical contest. And sometimes a rhetorical contest is amusing for a minute, but it's not really a productive conversation. So you and I, and you know, we could talk about politics, but yeah, engaging with the great public on it is you're just going to get everything under the sun. So
before I get to this super chat, which could go on for a while because that's a big question.
Empathy on the internet,
right? Lauren, what's up? What's up? I was going to say what's up, Lauren, before we get to answering this super chat.
Cool.
What you been doing? What's going on? Chilling. What time is it over there, by the way?
It's early. I literally had to make myself look human because it's 7:30 in the morning.
Get some coffee.
Yeah, make some coffee, like sort myself out, and then like plug things in properly.
I'm just like randomly come on my stream.
So one thing, Quinn, that I will say is that there is a person in your chat right now with the handle of the name of a very famous white supremacist, and so I'm gonna go
Gavin.
ahead and
No,
boot
no,
that in.
he's making fun of him because it's Gavin McInnes.
Oh, okay. Well, I should undo it then.
Yeah, he's making fun.
You
But
were hidden and then unhidden. I didn't catch that. See, that's
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. That's what you got to slow down. You gotta look at the Y and the V there. Ah, okay, all right.
but let's look at this super chat though, right here, right now. So
I'm a
it's saying,
she. Even better. Okay, we're good then. We're good.
it's. Do you think the Age of Heroes happened after the Long Night? Can you give a summary of what you believe the most accurate timeline is? Did Brand the Builder become before or after the Long Night? Such a hard question. I
Yeah,
can't give you like
I've
necessarily.
been had.
Yeah. I can't necessarily give you like bit for bit, like here is what I think about where the timeline, where exactly everything went. But there are some discrepancies, and it definitely is open to the fact that things don't necessarily go the way the Maesters say they went, for sure. And as far as Brand the Builder, I still maintain that Brand the Builder could have been just like a name given to multiple different people. That there was like different people that built different stuff, and it was just a name throughout history that it kind of merged into one figure. Because the things that were built too far apart. The things that he's associated with building, like nobody could have lived that long.
Right? Historically, a lot of people have took other people's buildings as their own and either wiped the previous person's names off them, like in Egypt. A lot of pharaohs did that for one reason or another, so that they could be perceived as greater within like the world. It's like a legacy project. Anyone writing a book is doing a legacy project. You're leaving a legacy behind you once you have basically passed on. So for them to take on that name is to take on that moniker. But obviously it's going to get lost somewhere. There's always going to just be looked at as one person. But I doubt it is one person unless we actually have that timey-wimey shit going on throughout the whole entire book.
That might be true. Yeah, the timey. Okay, look, the timey-wimey stuff. That is not just something that they inserted into the show. That is in the book, right? Because that is you see that scene where Bran is in the cave and he calls out to Ned and Ned hears him. He looks back and then he comes out of it and Bloodraven is all like, "Oh no, we just heard the wind. He didn't hear you." So that's in there. Like, see, it seems like George R. Martin was setting up some kind of timey-wimey stuff, but we don't know exactly to what extent he's gonna go. But I do think that the fact that Bran's name is Bran, and the fact that there is this famous Bran in history that is claimed to do all these different things that took place at different points in history. That theory does kind of hold some water.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah. It is there.
Mike's background is amazing, by the way.
The Enterprise.
So yeah, that is a really good background. My take on this is that yes, the Age of Heroes did happen after the Long Night, because like I was starting to say, the Long Night is a bottleneck event. If it's anything close to what we're told, and there was any sort of a prolonged darkness for more than a couple of years, that means we had global famine and drought. That means all the societies are going to descend into chaos and wars for resources and all that stuff. Most people are going to die if it went on 6 years or 12 years. So however we got through the Long Night, magic and teamwork and whatever, on the other side of it is going to be a ragged band of folks who survived. And so this is all the previous institutions are going to be gone. We're going to need entirely new institutions. We might name some of them after the old ones or whatever, but like people like Brandon the Builder, Lan the Clever, all the people that founded the houses that still exist to this day, the first High Tower and all that stuff, like most of those people probably existed right after the Long Night, because that's when people would have been founding new great houses. And again, perhaps they're grabbing names from the stuff from before the fall, but a lot of information is going to be lost in a societal bottleneck reset event like that. So I tend to think a lot of the Age of Heroes legends that we have are going to be right after the Long Night instead of right before. But the bottom line is that I don't think George intends us to be able to sort it out. Yeah. He's giving us like a bunch of people like the Maesters who think they have history lined up. And then he's giving us a lot of clues that they're just guessing and putting things together, because, I mean, what do we know on Earth about the real dynasties of 8,000 years ago in various parts of the world? Like, we're only guessing about that stuff. So
Lucy Lestat, not Bernie. That's all I gotta say to that. Bernie hasn't. Bernie didn't know him. That's all I gotta say.
So, like, explain to me what's the deal right now with like American politics when it comes to your
So we're doing. Go ahead.
with the take away the whole impeachment stuff. We know that's going on. We probably
Mhm.
is going to be a total farce. But the actual election stuff, what's going on with that?
The Democratic primaries are happening right now, and we're a few days away from one of the most predictive early voting states, which is Iowa, and then there's New Hampshire. So the thing about the Democratic primaries too is it's in the last 50 years, no one has ever won the presidency without winning the states Iowa and or New Hampshire, right? So that's why they're very predictive, and Bernie is leading. So if Bernie wins, the establishment is already kind of lighting themselves on fire that Bernie is leading. They're like going crazy right now.
There's certainly a lot of fidgeting and pearl clutching going on. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Heavens to Betsy, my pearls and my stocks. Oh no.
I mean, how do you guys feel about him implementing at some point, if he does become president, like proper social health care, something like in
I'm
the
for it.
likes of the NHS and maybe like the AOC's Green New Deal? I do keep
For it.
up with these things, by the way. Like AOC's Green New Deal is a bit extreme, right? I think America would have a lot of trouble with that because you guys are so used to having everything big, and you're in a big land, to be fair. You kind of need those things. But putting in more infrastructure like railways and stuff like that, public transport, do you think that might go through, or what would be the fight for it?
The problem is that we waited so long that like the only things that would really get us anywhere where we need to be are very extreme measures. So it's kind of like when we the time when we could have done this like easily was like 20 years ago. And so I mean, I don't know.
Done what easily?
We got to start doing something.
About what?
Climate change? Isn't that what we're talking about? She said Green New Deal, so I thought we were talking about.
I
climate change.
did.
Green New Deal.
Implementation of the Green New Deal that AOC brought forward.
Her Green New Deal is like, it's not legislation. It's like a set of like, it's like almost like a list, a framework of things that we need to like
A
move
manifesto.
towards
Their
accomplishing.
goals. Their goals and ideals as far as what we need to work towards, which is basically, I mean, just a way of saying what the scientists are saying, which is like we should have been doing something about this like a long time ago. And it's like 11:39 and our homework is due in 21 minutes and we have a very big project to do. So,
The hour grows late. Yeah.
Well, you
So-
guys know that none of the climate models have actually come true. Right?
What do you mean?
I mean, 20 years ago, the IPCC was doing all these climate predictions, including stuff about like, that sea levels rising and all this kind of stuff. And none of the climate models that they predicted 20 years ago
well, no, that's not true. Some have come true, some haven't. Some things are much worse than they predicted. I mean, it's all over the map. It depends on what predictions you're talking about.
I mean, predictions
I
are
hope we're
still
not here to deny
predictions. It
climate
doesn't-
change, Mike.
Hmm?
I hope we're not here to deny that climate change is a problem, right?
Oh, it's climate. It's going to change. Whether or not
we're
not
changing it.
human
We're
beings-
changing it with
I don't know. I
greenhouse
don't
gases.
give human
agree with
beings
that, right?
that much ability to change the very nature of our planet. I just don't think we're
man.
that big.
Yeah, we are changing the nature
okay.
of our planet.
Hold on,
We're doing
hold on,
it.
hold on.
We're doing it right now. We've been doing it for 60 years, and all the graphs
Right.
show that.
Right. Hold on. What were we just talking about earlier on before I came on about having empathy?
I have empathy. I have lots of empathy. That's why I'm asking, like,
Yeah.
are we here to really debate climate change? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I don't want to. I mean, I'm here to discuss. I'm not here to debate.
Well, but this is, I mean, we can't have a discussion if we disagree about facts, the basic facts of like what's
Well, what
happening.
are I? Okay, what
You just
are
said
your
that
facts?
mankind can't have an effect on the climate. Can we start there?
I just don't see it as. I mean, I think sunspots have far more ability to change the temperature of the planet than what CO2. CO2 is a heavy gas, right?
But we're
How
already
did
doing it. Like it's already, this isn't theoretical.
I know CO2 is a heavy gas. CO2 is heavier than the atmosphere. And it's like the or water in the atmosphere is like 95% of the greenhouse gases. So what are you going to do about the water? H2O is like 95% of what causes heat to stay inside the atmosphere. What are you going to do about the clouds?
We do have like a ridiculously high population. Not that that really matters right now because we're in the 20s and typically every century around the 20s is a massive plague that happens. So, you know,
Say that.
this one's kicked off really well.
Is that what's kicking off in China right now? The
Yeah.
coronavirus?
Which I know what else I find hilarious about it. Not that it is funny, is that on the same day it was announced, Netflix also dropped a new documentary called Pandemic. It's basically about the H1N1 virus. What's it called? It was the one that was a couple of years ago.
Bird flu.
Yeah, avian flu. And every time this originates, most of the plagues in that originate from China.
Yeah.
But anyway, you've got a super chat. Read the super chat, Quinn.
Yeah, okay, so there's a super chat. I got a super chat. My only problem with TNG is the techno-babble over philosophy. TOS resolved conflict organically. TNG just yacked about warp course until the music resolved. We know techno-babble is a staple of science fiction. You know what? Get out of here. That is not just TNG. Techno-babble is a science fiction staple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta do the tech. Doctor Who is the worst about it, though. Have you heard the techno-babble in Doctor Who?
Yes.
It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
That's where technobabble fucking originates from, is from Doctor Who. Like, that you can't get away with it. Just, I've actually kind of stopped watching Doctor Who for the last couple of seasons because
Same.
It's not that I don't like the new Doctor, it's just, it's all been done. I've seen it all. Like, from Christopher Eccleston onwards.
Same.
Like,
they're doing the same stuff over again.
yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it all. I like the fact that, yes, they're mixing different Doctors together and making reinventions and making it for this generation that's here, but our time's kind of past now. We've seen this, and there's only so many times you can bring back the same version of the Master and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we get the whole timey-wimey shit outright, that's fine. But our favourite Doctors have kind of came and gone, just like any generation before us as well. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, my
Doctor-
favorite Doctor is Tom Baker. And he
Well,
came
I'm a David Tennant guy.
a long time.
David Tennant.
Someone says, Quinn, I love this shirt, right? 2020. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but I'm 48, so Tom Baker was I used to watch that when I was a kid. You know, it's like coming up, piping it over on the PBS. Way back in.
Someone says, I can see what LML is looking at through his glasses. Oh no, what secrets to your glasses reveal? Someone said earlier that I bet Quinn is scrolling through cat memes. But I was just not saying anything for a minute. Yeah, Bale the Bard says, Tenet for the win.
I like Tenet, but I still think that had Peter Capaldi had better scripts, he would have been my favorite.
Had Peter Capaldi been allowed to swear, that would be much better.
I hate how they were giving him like a midlife crisis. And it was like, do you want to share your screen, LML?
He technically was having a midlife crisis.
I think I did share my screen.
Yeah, I'll add it to the broadcast.
Oh, look, it's the sea ice melting away. Oh
Oh
there
shit.
it goes. Bye, sea ice.
That's the Arctic, because the
That's
sea
the
ice in the Antarctic is getting bigger.
No, the Antarctic is cracking and falling apart. Actually, the giant ice shelf that's like a third of it is like going to be gone in 50 years because it's suffering gigantic cracks beneath the ice.
How come the sea level isn't rising?
It is rising.
It's not though. Look that up. Find out where the sea level. It should be rising all over the earth because it's the sea,
Sorry, go ahead.
but it's not.
Well, so you're talking about snow accumulation. I'm talking about the ice shelves cracking. It's slightly
Right,
different.
The worry about the ice shelves cracking is that it's going to rise the sea levels, right?
Yeah, when they crack, they sink and then they float away and melt, and then the sea levels rise. Yeah.
Right. So Can you find where the sea levels are rising for me?
So the cracks I'm talking about are gigantic cracks that are forming across an ice shelf that's about a third of Antarctica.
Lauren.
It has not fallen into the sea yet, but the cracks are forming, and the cracks will lead to the shelf breaking. And when that happens, it'll be very bad. So Antarctica is not where you'll find any
Like
good
my-
news
you like my
about climate change.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, okay, so Mike, do you believe that the climate is changing?
I believe the climate will always change.
But do you believe that right now we're on a trajectory for getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter progressively?
Well, from what I understood, and I could be wrong, you could tell me if I'm wrong, the climate or the global temperature hasn't changed in the last 19 years.
We've been trending hotter for like every year for like a decade.
So the chat is piping out with talks of Venice. In Miami, they stopped insuring houses near the ocean. The insurance companies know that the water is rising. New York is
Venice
having
is going to be gone.
issues all over the globe, and it's getting worse. Here's the thing about climate change. All right, I always like to start with finding something we can agree on. Basically, what the people are worried about climate change are saying is that pollution is a problem, fossil fuels as well as industrial pollution in general. So the solution for climate change starts with reducing pollution, which I don't know anybody that's against that, because if you look at the amount of pollution in our world, there's too much. Clearly, you see stuff being dumped in the rivers, in the skies, it's in the water, it's in the fish. I mean, it's everywhere. So clearly, if we're like, even if you don't
point of
agree, you're not sure about our ability to affect the climate, like, can't we agree that we shouldn't let very rich corporations make a ton of money, pay very little taxes, and then dump a bunch of shit into our environment? Like, that's where I like to start. But
absolutely. I don't disagree with that at all. I wouldn't blame it on the very rich, because the people dumping all that crap into the rivers, dude, that's like Peru, that's Ecuador, that's
it's always large corporations that are responsible for that stuff.
No,
man. It's not individual.
Literally, the city of Ecuador
doing that.
the river as the dump.
Dude, it's large corporations that do that.
Just dump trucks backing up to the river, just dumping.
Okay, so why are the oceans polluted now when they weren't 200 years ago? Like, all of a sudden in the last 150 years, everything has gotten super polluted. Why is that? It's because of industry, large scale industry. That's what I would put forth.
Aren't something like 70% of emissions from like a few corporations? I feel like I've heard that fact before.
A lot more from India and China than there is from the United States.
Yeah, but large corporations in India and China. I'm not just blaming America.
I'm just saying, I don't.
Corporations don't belong to countries anymore, anyways.
I'm perfectly fine with us limiting our pollution. I mean, it's not really an argument. You're going to have to get India, China, Ecuador, Peru, all these third world countries that use the ocean as a freaking toilet to change.
Well, yes, again, but a lot of their policies are driven by large multinational corporations that operate in their countries. So it starts with getting off of fossil fuel. And we're not, like, other countries are kicking our ass in that, which is kind of embarrassing to me.
I got a super chat that says, get people inside smart city Golics run by artificial intelligence so you can slowly die playing video games alone without harming the earth or the planet.
What's your solution for getting off of fossil fuel?
Talking to me? Or are you just putting that question out there?
If you have a solution.
All the solutions that we have that are out there to use. Do you want to talk about subsidies for fossil fuels versus subsidies for solar and
no? That's all. I want actual solutions, not like political stuff. You know.
No, that's wind, the solar. Those are actual solutions. We need to update the grid. What?
I said I've got solar. I love it.
Yes, it's great.
Yeah, no, I really, really hope that that the solar technology gets better and better, because the sun. That's
it's free,
it's
for
free
me. Energy. I definitely like to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but most and this is completely political as well, but most governments, mostly like America, are not based on free things. It's based on money and capitalism. Unfortunately, there's no such thing as something for free in America.
I'm not talking about
kind
free solar panels. I'm just saying that's
No,
that,
I'm saying, obviously, when he's saying about subsidies and stuff like that, there's still money that comes into that. So only so many people are going to get that opportunity to have like solar power. And a lot of the bigger companies, the gas and oil companies like BP and whatnot, they're not going to automatically shift over to that. It's going to take years to convince them. They are lobbyists and stuff like that.
Oh, you can't convince them. That's why you have to get the money out of politics. You can't let that's the whole problem with I'm 100% free market capitalist dude. I am 100% against crony capitalist people putting money in the pockets of government officials to skew the market to their favor. I believe technologies in the direction of free energy, whether that be magnet-driven stuff or solar or whatever, has been stifled by corporations using the government to stifle them. The government-industrial combo is, to me, a horrible detriment to my nation, our planet, and the environment.
I think
that's a good place to start with agreement. Go ahead, Lauren.
I think if they manage to somehow, which is a big ask, break the link between all the big companies who work in together to keep a certain vicious cycle going, then you might have a chance of changing things, like the way you eat, how you treat your environment, how your energy works, how people survive on a day-to-day basis, getting rid of homelessness, getting people back into the workplace, having decent, free and universal education for everybody that isn't dependent on having money, debts, things like that, having education systems that are legitimate and not taking the piss out of people, because there's a lot of that in the States that I'm aware of. You can say if I'm wrong, and then I'm wrong. But there needs to be a whole reformation on a lot of things. I mean, I'm not saying that the UK is perfect. It is not. But for me, like, I remember sitting with Tony at the con, and he asked me, would you ever move to America? And I laughed at him. I was like, no.
Yeah, I don't got healthcare.
It's America is scary. Like, it's so, at least from my point of view, you guys, it's normal for you. But for me,
I was telling you, I think, like, months ago, when, like, last year when I was getting this place, how they tried to charge me for the deposit.
Yeah.
Like $700 to get to my utilities turned on. And I was like, this is extortion. And I ended up not paying that much, but that was crazy. Right?
Seriously?
Yeah. It was a mix up, but it was just like,
oh
yeah, but it was like, yeah. I went up there and they were like, yeah, it's gonna be like 700. I was like, my credit is not so bad.
That usually only happens if you've already like bailed on an account with the power company.
Yeah, so it's like,
oh, you want power, do you?
That's what I was like. That's what I was thinking. Oh, has someone stolen my identity? And like, so yeah, it was just like some kind of mix-up.
I've seen a comment from a person called Metatron. Says Scottish, nobody can tell. I think he means you're Scottish. Nobody can tell the US what to think. Consider why America voted Trump. No, I'm not ignorant to that fact. I do understand in some part, and I have made great efforts in the last couple of years to understand why America voted Trump. Technically, they voted for Hillary, but it was the
Electoral College. It was
Electoral College.
She won by 3 million votes in general, but we go by state. So it's like,
so the Electoral College kind of just went, nope, I'll take that off you. But I do understand why quite a few people voted for Trump, because they see the establishment as being an issue. You know, most people working class, there's a big disconnect, and there's also a disconnect between people's actual knowledge and the actual political system, the media, and things like that. It's all very there's a narrative going on, and the narrative's always being spun one way or the other. It's a complete fight. You have a two-party system that doesn't essentially work all the time. It's very frustrating. But yeah, I can see why you would say that to me. Like, I'm Scottish, I can't tell you what to think, blah, 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 blah.
Can I get some of these super chats? Because I got a few piled up.
There you go.
Yep.
So Rantsu says, "What do you think of James Lovelock's book Novocaine or Novacine?" I have not read it. Sorry, not read it. Distran, the gloriously deformed, says, and this is where the stream goes down the toilet. I think this is where the stream gets interesting.
Yeah.
And then one last super chat: without proper economic plan for climate change that doesn't include green nuclear generations 3/4, every conversation on this topic is a waste of our tax dollars. I don't know enough about the science of green nuclear energy.
Is
firmly
France
deny that.
still getting 80 to 90% of their energy from nuclear?
I don't know.
Anybody know? You're in England. You're right across the bay or the pond.
What's this?
Oh, do you know if France is still getting 80 to 90% of their power from nuclear plants?
I've no idea, but I'm not in England. I'm in Scotland, part of the United Kingdom. It's a distinction.
Europe.
She's like, "How dare you say I'm in England? I'm
England?
Scottish."
Dale the Bard
I
says
hate
yes,
that.
they are. Colin Pint says yes, they are.
Most people do have nuclear. I mean, the government here in the UK are still trying to push for mostly nuclear power, but Scotland are hardcore on using renewable energy. So we've got a lot of wind, wave, ocean farms, things like that. There is one nuclear plant that's on, I think, the west coast of Scotland that the government have tried to restart several times, and it's a risk in itself because a lot of it's cracked. I've seen, but it never gets put into the mainstream media. A lot of people don't know about this place, but the government keeps trying to restart this thing. But Quaestor, we'll get onto that. Our Hair Scotland will leave Great Britain. We'll come on to that. We'll talk about those things in a minute. But I don't know. Like, people are still very dependent on nuclear. It's the way to go. That's what they believe in. I mean, I thought you'd think Chernobyl and all these other disasters would kind of, make people move along from it.
Well, why do people like nuclear? Because it's like clean,
Yeah.
right? And in general, the risk with nuclear energy is like kind of, if it's done right, then it's like negligible. Like there's a low chance of a disaster.
Nuclear energy is that we don't have any way to dispose of the spent rods.
This is what I'm going to talk about. You may or may not believe this, but I actually, and this was 25 years ago.
If I could just real quick, we made power plants without having a plan for how to dispose of the rods, which to me is
what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
I met a dude 25 years ago who was a nuclear physicist. He worked in, I can't remember, I don't think it was San Onofre, but he worked in Southern California, and they had come up with a process by which they could dispose of nuclear waste that would make it less radioactive than the uranium or the whatever plutonium uranium they got out of the ground in the first place. And for some political reason, they couldn't implement it.
So my whole thing is like,
I don't know why. It's just I freaking
fired into the sun, like one comment.
Let's do a role play for a second, Quinn. Imagine you're the president of the United States. Okay, I am Johnny Entrepreneur, and I want to build the world's first power plant. Maybe it wasn't even in the United States. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what country it was in. Let's just role play this out with me. I've got this great plan. Hey, Quinn, check this out. You know how we all need electricity?
Yeah.
Big thing where we smash atoms together inside, and it's all crazy, but it's going to make a ton of power. Only catch is that it's going to produce these like highly radioactive, toxic, glowing rods that we have to keep cooled in a pool of water for like 1,000 years. And as long as we can do that, it's cool. So can I build the power plant? And what would you say, Quinn?
I would say not until you can find a better way to dispose of the waste.
And as the president's advisor, I'm just going to advise that we need to kill Tesla because he's got loads of cool shit right now. And it's like, if we want to do this, we need to lock up his shit.
I want to point out that this technology isn't even 100 years old. And this 1,000-year thing was an argument they used about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki are thriving cities with no nuclear fallout.
Well, those aren't spent rods. That was an explosion that went
I know,
off.
but that's what I'm saying. They were saying
but it's still
rods last 1,000 years, and now they're saying the spent rods are going to be 1,000 years.
Isn't it about like that? Isn't it about like the half-life of the radioactive elements?
Well, I'm just saying they're it. The
I don't know.
technology
I'm
is
not
old
a
enough
physicist.
for us to actually know. This is all theoretical, and the stuff was radioactive when we got it out of the ground in the first place, right? Did we somehow? I don't know. I don't know the technology. How did we make the radioactive stuff we got out of the ground more radioactive?
Well, we smashed atoms together and broke them apart and did stuff. I mean,
I
we
mean,
did stuff we
dude,
could
I'm
do in a
not.
nuclear power
I'm
plant.
not happy about
Nuclear
Fukushima.
power
I'm
plants.
Japanese. I'm not happy about Fukushima. I think this is probably what's killing all of the starfish up in the Northwest Ocean. But it's they built a nuclear power plant like right on the ocean, and I don't know. I don't have a perfect solution, but I think there's places where nuclear is safe and yeah, provides a lot of electricity. We freaking close. We had a perfectly fine
So
power
can I
plant
get in here?
45
Can I
minutes
get in
away.
on this one, Mike?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my argument is super basic, which is that anytime you have a nuclear power plant, it produces nuclear waste regularly and consistently that would not exist otherwise. So this whole argument of like, was it nuclear before, was it radioactive before it came out of the ground is not relevant. If you have a power plant, it generates nuclear waste, and we currently do not have a way to dispose of nuclear waste safely. We have to keep it in a cooled pool for hundreds of years, however long it is, which presumes our ability to like maintain civilization and existence to cool down the rods so they don't melt down and create a Chernobyl situation. So my whole thing is like, before we ever built one power plant, shouldn't have we had a responsible plan for how to deal with the nuclear waste? And I'm just waiting for someone to explain to me how that doesn't make sense. That seems like a very simple argument. And now we have all these power plants making all this nuclear waste, and we currently don't have a way to dispose of it safely except for just keeping it in these cold pools. And so you see when Fukushima, they have a problem and all of a sudden they can't maintain the pools, all the water boils off, and then now we have this giant disaster. So
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I don't.
I mean, those places are still radioactive, to be fair, right? There's still a risk in them. I mean, there's tourists that go there just for the hell of it, but they're told, they're warned, like, this is a radioactive place, you can still die. I mean, we take you too far in. And it's the same for Chernobyl. It's still radioactive. It might still have some life, but those are affected by the radioactive properties of those nuclear power stations that have blew up. I mean, it's still a thing.
People are getting angry at me and telling me that they can use all the nuclear waste for power. Well, maybe they do some of it, but then what happened at Fukushima? Why do we have these large pools full of radioactive waste that needed to be cooled? So, I mean, it's good.
Because
that's the problem with Fukushima is they can't get in and fix it. And
but no,
so,
why did we have it all sitting around in pools when the thing like melted down? Like obviously it hadn't been reused.
Because that's how they contain nuclear waste.
Does anybody know what percentage
in.
of it gets reused? That would be good.
I'm just saying the ocean came into Fukushima, and that's what caused it to rupture, and that's what caused the problems that disallow it from being fixed now. And
but what LMLs?
No, I got that.
It's an ongoing problem, and I do agree with you. I mean, yeah, I think we should focus attention on figuring out a way, like whatever that dude 25 years ago, whatever his solution was. I don't know why it wouldn't be implemented now. What is France doing with their nuclear waste?
I have not got a clue.
So again, I'm
I
asking.
know.
There's attention to
I'm
France.
drawing. If somebody else wants to Google it, that'd be great.
Like, I'm just saying, like the whole pool thing, and that's how they could have contained nuclear waste in the past, right? Is by putting them in cooling pools, because that's the only way they could contain it, is by wrapping them in graphite and sticking them in a cooling pool. The only problem with that is when the cooling pool is affected, you've only got so much time before that thing, like the reaction within the spent waste, will basically overheat and explode. That's kind of what happened with Chernobyl after one reactor core kind of exploded, and then they couldn't restart the cooling system, and then basically that's what happened. It just went nuts. But yeah, moving on. Can we talk? Do you want to talk about Scotland maybe becoming independent again?
Sure. I haven't heard anything about that. Go for it.
I'm trying to get I'm just real quickly, I'm trying to get a percentage on this here of like how much of it we recycle. That would be helpful to know.
Yeah.
And while you're doing that, I'm just going to answer the couple of super chats that came in. Now, somebody said something about like us needing to like switch over. Okay, what did they say? Gen 4 nuclear plants can use old nuclear waste for power, says Stand for Liberty. All
Really?
right.
Oh,
And
sorry. Do your
Rantsu says, this conversation is pointless. China flu is going to kill us all before we get to see Dune 2020. That's another thing that I'm very worried about. I have the same worry. I have the same exact worry, so I empathize.
There's actually on my phone, I got an alert saying there's the first confirmed case in Canada.
Oh no.
Yeah, but that's Canada.
They were talking about a case in California, I think, like the other day.
Yeah, and that person is fine. I do believe
Is
they're
he?
10 years old and they have a good immune system. So it's
Well, that's cool. Okay, please.
Oh, do you have any other super chats? Because I have just it's sort of on this topic.
Okay, no, I don't have any more super chats.
All right. So there was this. Okay, you can recycle trash and convert it into gas and oil and petroleum and stuff. There was actually a dump. I guess it was like a dump that was doing this. What you're doing is you're boiling. So you just take all the plastic, all the rubber, all the whatever, and you throw it into this thing, and you just reconvert it basically back into petroleum, and then you distill it into the different gases, and you get tar, you get kerosene, you get gasoline, you get everything. You get it just distills back into all those gases, and then they actually use the kerosene to continue the boiler in this thing. And it's this grand recycling thing where you could actually take all the garbage and turn it back into useful.
Yeah, but what's the waste product from that? Like, there's going to be waste product, like the solid matter. What happens to that afterwards?
No, that's it. The gas, the rubber, and the plastic and all that stuff becomes reconverted back into tar or the various gases that petroleum is based off of, or that petroleum produces. Just like when you're taking raw petroleum out of the ground, it's the same thing. You distill it and it separates into different densities of gas, right? And then that's how you get kerosene. That's how you get gasoline. That's how you get diesel. That's how you get all these different gases. And interestingly enough, there was a dude in Japan who made like a tiny desktop version of this system where he would put plastics and stuff like his trash. He would put it in, and it would convert it into like I said, all the different gases and stuff. And I don't know. I just don't. It's one of these things like you see this technology where we can literally recycle the things that we're complaining aren't biodegradable, and it just goes nowhere. Like nobody picks it up. Nobody runs with it. Nobody says we should be doing this all over the country, all over the world. It's just like, no, let's just keep throwing stuff in the landfills. I don't know. I have my own issues with waste, but
so a couple things, and just to button this up, I'm not going to go into depth on this because I obviously need to read up more on this. But so recycling is not done in the United States. It is done in France. In the United States, commercial used fuel rods are safely and securely stored at 76 reactor or storage sites in 34 states. Fuel is either enclosed in steel-lined concrete pools of water or in steel and concrete containers known as dry storage casks. For the foreseeable future, the fuel can safely stay at these facilities until a permanent disposal solution is determined by the federal government. So I might have needed to update my knowledge as far as knowing that there is hope to recycle. Some of that is happening. I'm also not completely out to fucking lunch here by saying that, no, we do have a lot of this shit sitting in ponds that we literally have to keep cold water running over, or else they will start causing a problem. And we aren't doing any recycling. I don't know why we're not. If France
has the technology, yeah, why the hell not?
Is it a political blockade, or is it not tested? I don't know. Maybe
it's a similar issue, Dave. And you'll probably do you have the Polo in Scotland? The Volkswagen
what?
Polo? The Volkswagen Polo.
Yes.
You
Of
do?
course, where do you think it came from? It had to come to here first before it came over to you. But yeah, let's go.
No. That's the thing. We never got the Polo.
Right.
The Polo, for those you don't know, is a diesel Volkswagen that gets 70 to 80 miles to the gallon. They sell it in Europe. They sell it in Asia. They sell it in Africa. They will not import it into the United States.
Why not?
I imagine it would
Is it
still
because
be.
is it because America's all about I need the big car, I need like the Dodge
No,
Ram
they
or something
refuse
like
to-
that?
They import the Mini Cooper, but they won't import the Polo. And I think personally, it's because I don't know, Toyota, Honda, Ford, whoever, all these people who are spending all this money on all these lithium batteries and all these hybrid cars. If you have to pay $40,000 for a hybrid car so you can get 50 miles to the gallon, and then Volkswagen starts importing a car, you can get 70 to 80 miles to the gallon diesel, the hybrid car market's going to dry up.
Let me get this super chat. So one more super chat about radioactive crap, and then we're gonna stop talking about nuclear power because I don't know anything about nuclear power, so I can't say anything about it. Dean Rogers says coal power creates more radioactive material per watt than nuclear. It just gets dispersed into the atmosphere instead of all in one place. I feel like I am in chemistry again, and I'm not digging it.
I'm not really sure this is sound science from the super chat, but we'll just say okay.
I don't know if it is true or not. The future is the foot, says Don Spartan, and I agree.
Anyway, back to politics. Some interesting politics that's not American or that side of the world. So it was mentioned earlier on about Scotland potentially having another independence referendum. Now, that's just to give some background to most people who don't understand. So the first one was in 2014, and that was narrowly avoided, right? But it was avoided because it was told to us that if we left, then we wouldn't be able to join the EU, right? We'd have to leave the European Union. And at this time, we had we'd been told that we're not leaving the EU, that's going to be fine. If we were to leave the UK at that time, then our oil prices would plummet. There's not enough oil. There's this, that, loads of scaremongering, obviously. And then, so there was a narrow vote, and basically we stayed. And then about a couple of weeks later, David Cameron, the Conservative Prime Minister at the time, decided to go, we're having a vote on the EU. We're having an EU referendum. Let's do this, guys. And then instantly Scotland was raging, right? We felt hopeless, right? This was like, I remember that like that whole kind of couple of months, it was just absolutely dire. It was, I think Trump got into office not long after that. Scotland didn't get its independence, and then there was the EU referendum, and then the referendum came round, and then the vote was like, oh, guys, we're leaving, by the way. And then we had this 3 years of hell that we've had right now. So the agreement that was made after the Scottish referendum was that Scotland would get more powers to control itself, because Scotland is a devolved government from Westminster. The United Kingdom is made up of 4 different countries. So you've got Northern Ireland, you've got Wales, you've got England, and you've got Scotland. Scotland is the second biggest nation within those group of nations. We have to ask Westminster permission to have a referendum to go about getting our independence. We didn't get those powers that we wanted. We have been ignored again. We've been treated like crap. We're basically in an abusive long-term relationship with England, more specifically Westminster. And just to make it clear, Scottish people do not hate the English. It's the Westminster government setup that we hate. I mean, it's not the it's not a nation of equals. We're all chained to Westminster.
Gwen, you didn't have to put that one up on the screen, man. Come on, call me out like that. I'm putting my Fear and Loathing glasses back on. I took them off. Give you the Lucifer means light bringer, but no, I'm going back to party.
No,
Lucifer.
I think they only said that because they saw you like go like take a huge rip of and then
Well, yeah,
breathe out.
that's true, I guess. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's
We're
interesting.
going
I
back
didn't know any of that.
we're coming back around to having another vote. There's been
So you're gonna
rumours
vote
about
again on whether or not you want to leave.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
So we're having another debate about it. Scotland, there's a lot of support for it. The SNP, the current devolved government party, basically got in again for like the third or fourth time in succession. They won the EU vote. They've won the general election vote up in Scotland. They decimated the Labour and Conservative Party. That's the two main parties in England. And the other party that succeeded did good was the Green Party. The Lib Dems were just totally wiped out. The main Lib Dem leader for Westminster, she lost her seat in Scotland because she was from Dumbartonshire. So with this, the argument is we want to stay in the EU because that means we have access to the EU economy, which we need, freedom of movement, which means we can freely move about the EU as we please without having to fill in loads of visas. Students who are highly dependent on coming here for education or us going to them for education, sharing different programs, they're very important. I mean, our education system when it comes to university is we have a system where if you're a Scottish student, you get your tuition fees paid for you. Your student loans, you don't pay back until you have hit a certain threshold, and that all depends on a lot of money coming in from the EU and the economy, and also from like tourism and things like that. We want to implement our own social care system and separate the NHS out from what it is in England, because the NHS gets a bad rap, but it's the NHS in England that's so far worse than the one in Scotland. There's a lot more drug and knife problems in England than there is in Scotland. There's a differential issue going here. We do not want to be taken out of the EU because we voted to stay in, as did the other, I think it was Ireland and Wales voted to stay in it because England have a much larger population. They outvote us altogether. So Nicola Sturgeon, our First Minister, is trying to get a referendum put in place, but the Prime Minister we've got right now, another Conservative Prime Minister, will not allow that. We don't get to ask because apparently we've already had one. But if it's the other way around, if England wanted to leave the UK, they wouldn't need to ask our permission. They would just do it. You know, that we need to ask permission, but they wouldn't need to do that. You know, there's a lot of inconsistency when it comes to that.
Sounds like a little stepchild syndrome going on there.
Mm-hmm. The Wales is just as much ignored as Ireland is.
Like
all
you're
the devolved governments,
Stark, you know.
All the devolved governments in the UK, England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland recently all voted to say no to the Brexit deal that's went through. But Westminster's just like, yeah, psych. We're going to keep going through with this.
You know what you need? An electoral college.
Sorry, nope.
No, that's exactly what you're complaining about, is because you don't individually have the power of the overpopulated England, because you don't have an electoral college to allow you to have equal voting. That's why the electoral college exists. Thank you for making a case for it.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on. So, like the way it's been for a long time is it's not really working out, and we want to leave. There's a lot of independence movement, and when I say we, I say people like me who want to leave. I'm not saying 100% of Scotland want to leave. There are still unionists about there, and I'm just going to make it clear that I personally I've mixed feelings about it when it comes to leaving the EU, when it comes to leaving the United Kingdom. I've grew up in this United Kingdom. I've grew up in the Union, but I've also grew up as predominantly hardcore Scottish. I know the things that happened during the Thatcher years and stuff like that. There's a lot of indifference. I would personally vote again to leave, to be part of, and to be part of the EU. I voted to stay in the EU. I voted to leave the UK, and I would do it again. I mean, I'm well on the independence train. I would do that. That's how I feel about it. But it's not going to happen so easily. We might have to do it just off our own backs, because Westminster's never going to allow that, no matter how much we stamp our feet. It's just going to be like, yeah, no, whatever. We don't really care about you too much. Shut up and go back to your corner. That's basically how it is.
Oh my God. See, I feel I think I feel kind of guilty because I don't know a lot about, politics over there. So it's like I'm just like, oh my God.
I just seen the comment that you put up. Lucy Lestat, I thought Mel Gibson was the ruler of Scotland. No, he is not. He's a Scotland.
What?
I still hate that movie. Braveheart is one of the worst Scottish-based movies.
Okay, now we got something I can give an opinion on. No.
Braveheart. Is that what we're gonna do now?
No, don't even dare! Don't even dare! I will wreck you.
You may take our wives. Mel Gibson
Braveheart.
rules the Highlands.
I like that Mel Gibson movie, Apocalypto.
Yeah.
Even though apparently it isn't like historically accurate necessarily.
None of his films that he's in is historically accurate.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think the consensus on Braveheart is that it's mostly a good movie and mostly crap history, which is why Lauren is so uptight about it, because it's like her country and stuff. But like, whatever.
It's
Good movie, Lauren.
it's a movie for tourists. It's a movie made to attract tourists, and it did that really well. It did it so well that they made a statue of Mel Gibson as William Wallace and put it down at the bottom of the William Wallace Monument.
Oh,
That's a little
Yes.
eye roll inducing, but
that is funny.
Now, anybody who came to there thought that was actually how William Wallace looked.
Bright Glory says Mad Max is historically accurate. Indeed.
That's
It
true.
will be
100%. I mean, right? It seems like maybe. Honestly.
So, hey Quinn, can I throw in a little bit of actual Song of Ice and Fire content into our madness? Is that okay?
Yes, throw it on in.
I would like to begin hyping the thing that we're going to do together. Is that
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
okay? So Quinn and I, folks, we have brainstormed a thing,
A
and the thing is going to be called "Getting Excited for the Winds of Winter." And
Mm-hmm.
so what we were doing is we were kicking around because Quinn's going to come visit me at my shade LML abode.
Sometime like in probably a couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe-
man.
yeah.
And we're gonna collaborate. We're gonna be on the same in front of the same camera. And so what we were talking about was talking about the various plot lines that we have to get pumped for the Winds of Winter, because we're now far enough away from the show to where like we've all gotten our feels out about the show. We can sort of like just push that out of our minds.
Mhm.
Begin thinking about the books canon, the plot of where we left off with the Dance of Dragons. Maybe you guys are doing rereads. I'm doing a Daenerys reread right now.
Mhm.
And so there's all this stuff to get excited for the Winds of Winter. And we just real quickly jotted down a list of the plot lines. And it's kind of surprising how much there is. And maybe we can understand like why the book is taking a long time. But just starting in the east, in Slaver's Bay, we've got Barristan and company defending the city at the Battle of Fire. We've got Tyrion on his way there. He's kind of in Marine. He's with one of the sellsword companies, and he's already like causing people to change sides, and things are happening. We've got the Ironborn sitting in the harbor. I see ships in the harbor, and they are from the Iron Islands. Anyways, and so we've got to deal with that. And then Dany is in the Dothraki Sea with Drogon about to confront like a whole Khalasar. So there's 4 plot lines just in Slaver's Bay.
Yes.
And then adjunct to that, Quinn, I was thinking the other day, is also Volantis, because Dany's probably going to, stop by on her way out.
Indeed.
Stomp.
So then we've got in Bravos, we have Arya, who will probably be leaving the House of Black and White by the end of this book.
Yeah, definitely by the end of Winds of Winter.
Was that?
I said definitely by the end of Winds of Winter, she'll be leaving
Right. And there'll
Bravo.
probably be a few more freaky things before that. And then we have the entire Faceless Man Iron Bank conspiracy plot, which we don't know where that's going, but they're doing something. They're trying to get into the Citadel, and they're pulling strings. And
They want information. There's some hidden information behind a locked door somewhere. and they need
So,
it.
Can
So
I
then
can I
we've got-
interrupt just briefly?
What? Yeah, sure.
Have we had confirmation on when the Hell Winds of Winter might or may be coming out?
He said
no.
New Zealand. He said, well, last year he said New Zealand. He should be getting ready to wrap up, but he's heading to New Zealand pretty
July,
soon
right?
here.
New Zealand is July.
I think so. Yeah. So we'll see. We shall see.
I do feel like it is coming, so I feel like it's close enough to start getting the juice.
Wait. Did you just say winter is coming?
Winter is coming.
It's going to be very sexy. Anyways, so King's Landing.
Very wishes.
We need more movies and shows about the
Darth
business.
Big Ben says, "I'm sorry, but Braveheart was boring." and Manny Pardo says, "We need more movies / shows about the Byzantines."
Byzantines.
Good
Byzantines.
period drama is always good. I'll go for something set in Byzantium. That'd be sweet.
Did I say Byzantites?
Yep.
I read that totally wrong. I read it totally wrong. Byzantites.
Byzantines. So then in King's Landing, guys, we have Fagon. He is seizing the Stormlands on the march to King's Landing, where he's going to confront Cersei. We've got Cersei there tightening her rule and reigning as the Mad Queen, and then getting ready to fight Aegon. She'll probably end up fleeing to Casterly Rock after she loses, because she's going to lose. And then we've also got the Dornish interaction with those plot lines, which involves a Sand Snake being sent to King's Landing, and Arianne is hooking up with Fagon, creating an alliance there. So we got those plot lines. Then in Old Town, we have Samwell in the Citadel, and we have, he's taken in with Marwyn the Mage and his little crew. And then there's also Euron, who's planning to attack Old Town and whatever dark magic that he's doing. Then in the Riverlands, we have Jaime and Brienne in Lady Stoneheart's cave, which is a highly combustible situation. And we have the whole Brotherhood Without Banners taking revenge on the Freys for the Red Weddings plotline, which involves Stoneheart, Blackfish, Jane Westerling, and all that. And then in the north, of course, saving the best for last, we have the Battle of Ice between the Boltons and Stannis. We've got Jon being dead. In the books, Jon has literally been dead for like 7 years in the snow. He's very cold by now. We need to get him back to life. We've got Shireen. It's probably going to be, we know that the Shireen burning is going to happen somehow. Mel will probably be involved. And then we've got Bran, of course, in the cave with the three-eyed crow. By the end of the book, he'll probably be leaving the cave, if the show is any indication. So that was like 16 or 17 plot lines that George has to deal with, plus whatever other tiny little strands are going on. So, yeah, that's quite a lot, isn't it? What do you think, Lauren? Were you listening?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I was vaguely listening because I was letting you do your thing, and I was sort of organizing my uni pile of stuff that I need to do for today. So
my
yeah,
last sentence was, "Gee, isn't that a lot?" So
Yeah, he was naming a lot of the loose hanging plots from the Winds of Winter.
oh yeah, so yeah, that's a lot of stuff to go through. I mean, I'd still want to say that I would like to believe George that this book is coming out, but it's been a while. I don't want to get too hyped up and then just be let down again. I have trust issues at this point.
Yeah, but has he ever really put any kind of a timeline on it?
No,
No.
he's only ever said like, "Oh, it'll be out when it's out."
Stop
This is the first time in a really long time where he's even said like, "Oh, it'll be out like around this time."
Yeah.
So that's why it's like the New Zealand thing just seems like if he said it, then it's like maybe he's like really for real about this. Someone said, "Ha ha ha, Deep Ones 2020." Actually, I was watching Sabrina, right? And it's so funny because they've introduced like all this Lovecraft stuff. Like the whole final season apparently is going to be like Lovecraft Eldritch Horror. And, like I was thinking they were going to do it this season, but they were just setting it up this season. So I was like, what? So
Okay.
hopefully they can shy away from the freaking Hakate stuff and just do Lovecraft.
Okay.
yeah.
So I watched that entire season, right? And by the end of it, I felt sick because there were so many references going on,
So
and
many.
it was just you can have too much of a good thing. Not to say the season wasn't great; it was
It
pretty
wasn't as
good.
good as season 2 though.
No, but it was just there was so much going on. The timey-wimey right when they hit
That
Scotland,
last episode is like what?
when they hit Scotland, right? I was like, yes, awesome, and like but it was funny as well because before that flashed up on the screen, I was like, I bet they're going to go with Scotland because it's New England witches, and then you have to go connection, and then they were like, I was like, where the hell are they going? Loch fucking Ness. And I was just looking at that. You better not. Don't fuck with Nessie. Leave Nessie alone.
And it was the deep one.
It's a D1 coming out. I'm like,
It was a literal just a deep one. It wasn't even like it was a deep one. And he's even like rise deep one. It's literally just, and he's talking about the eldritch horrors arising. I'm like, this is like Lovecraft. And I was waiting for the ball to drop this season, but they're waiting for the last season. So
I was slightly offended by the touristy tartan that they were wearing.
which one?
Like, I like the fact that they did put them in the tartan and the kilt and things like that, which was it. I can see why they did that, in keeping with.
Wait, which thing? What thing are you talking about?
They dressed them in tartan, like Sabrina's cousin, and like.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you dress her up like this? No. Well, we can do the nose. Nose
And the hat.
the tartan was like so like
she has
the
got a what?
touristy kind of tartan.
It was like touristy.
Yeah, but like I appreciate it. Like, okay, you're making this a focal point. Like, fair enough. But
This
the
season,
whole,
they mixed a bunch of different lores together too. I noticed they were taking like even like Sarnuno shows up. Well, it's not Sarnunos. It's actually Pan. It's the god Pan that shows up. Like they were mixed up so much like little stuff. I was like, I'm curious to see what they do with this final season of Sabrina: A Chilling Adventure.
I thought with them bringing in the old gods like that, like the pagans, it was having like an American gods situation.
Yeah, I thought the pagan. When he said the old gods, because he says like the old gods are returning in the beginning of it, and then you see the pagans, and they're also like, oh, our old gods are returning. But there was at some point where somebody, and I forget who it was, they were like, oh, you mean those pagan deities that call themselves gods? No, not those things. I'm talking about these eldritch terrors that are rising. Yeah, he said that. So because he was in that like pocket dimension or whatever for like 15 years, like researching it. So he can see the coming death. The old ones are rising again. Sabrina might be the first show to do like Lovecraft well, right? It could be like this could be like the first time we've seen like a Lovecraft thing like done pretty good.
When I was watching the season, like I picked up on like American Gods vibes and supernatural vibes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there was a lot of like stuff that they've went over their whole amount of seasons that they packed into one season. So if they're going to do like the old gods, are they bringing back the Leviathans? Are they doing things like that? Like those old ones, those deep ones, because it kind of goes along with the Cthulhu
it does
mythology. I'm not so up on the references from that. I've read some of these stories. Well,
Lovecraft, like he's got a lot of like little stories, and they don't all necessarily connect. He wasn't like thinking about it like this is my universe, but there are like names that show up in certain things and gods that show up in different things or whatever. But
Hey, speaking of that, I think Quinn, the fact that they're using Hecate might give you an opportunity because your universe is a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe separating and giving yourself a fictional god, goddess, god's name might be.
Is that how it's actually pronounced? Hecate, not Hecate.
Yeah, they're saying Hecate in the show. But I mean, it seems like so tangential in the show almost that it almost seems irrelevant. Right? And I don't know how significant it's going to be in this final season of it because it's like they've worshipped Satan this whole time, and like the whole plot this whole season was like, oh, they need a new source of power because Satan's cut them off. And so it's like now they're getting it from Hecate or whatever.
They're switching it from a patriarchal kind of power source stuff
to the mother, the maiden, the mother, the crone specifically. Yeah, Hecate. And then that's the Neil Gaiman thing too. Neil Gaiman does Hecate is a Neil Gaiman's thing too. So it's in Sandman. They show up. They're like the three women. But like my version of Hecate is like totally different from that. So I'm taking certain ideas that exist out there, but then changing it.
The Gaiman version of Hecate is more of like a kind of Polish Czech, Polish, that Eastern European version of that.
That name shows up a lot in a lot of different places, but she's like a goddess of witchcraft and a lot of different things. a lot of different, like the arcane. She's associated with the arcane and all that. So it does make sense that they would just be like, I got that. Ah! Without even thinking about it, I don't think. But whatever. It's cool. It's cool. Oh,
How do you think they're going to sort out this time paradox?
I don't know. See, Sabrina, does Sabrina not annoy you? I get it. She's a teenager, but it's like she's so irresponsible.
Yes.
It's just like, and then every time you're like, oh my god, hopefully she'll like do something responsible and not be like such an idiot. She'll do something like create a time paradox.
For as much as she hates her dad, right?
Yeah.
She's basically his daughter. Like,
exactly.
Through. You're like, right, okay, we're going to start this, and then by the end of it, she's like, fuck this, I want to do both things.
Right.
I need it.
Yeah, the ending was a little weird because she all of a sudden she's like, you know what? I think half of me wants to be Queen of Hell. So she's just like, it was weird. So I wonder when like the two Sabrinas, if they're gonna merge, or if it's gonna be like war between the Sabrinas in the next season. Because wouldn't that be interesting? It's like Sabrina versus Sabrina. Wow. All right, guys.
Is there someone else up there we can talk to? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just haven't seen the show.
No, now go away. I shall taunt you a second time.
Chat is on it. Thank you, chat. Everyone likes a good Monty Python quote session. It does.
Monty Python.
Yeah, dude. I on one of my morning shows this week, I did a eulogy for Terry Jones. That was sad.
Yeah.
It made me sad. Patsy.
So can I plug in the spirit of Monty Python? And yes, rest in peace, Terry Jones, the great Terry Jones. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. I would like to plug my own video that I did. Some of you may have noticed that our good friend, The Witcher, speaking of The Witcher, looks an awful lot like the Rhaegar that we never got. And so,
are you doing this now? Are you going to reference this video?
We're doing this now. Yeah, we gave you like 7 minutes.
The Enterprise fell.
Independence and 2 more on why Braveheart shouldn't be enjoyed. So yeah, we're gonna do this now.
Yeah, and, cool.
No, just watch my video, guys. I did a ridiculously dumb video where I just basically squinted at The Witcher and pretended it was about Rhaegar and Ashara and spun this whole thing out, and it's
actually really good satire. If you're into that sort of thing, you should definitely go have a look at it, because before he launched it, he messaged me and I knew he was up to no good. He's like, you need to see this video. I've been spent so much time on this. I was like, I know exactly what you're up to. We're sitting watching it and people were coming into like the premiere and they were like, what's going on? I'm so confused. But
that was the premiere was great. Oh, you silly English kinniggets with your knees bent running around. So look, I've got more of these planned, and I've got Quinn conspiring with me on the next one. I'm gonna misinterpret anything I can as Game of Thrones, and it's gonna be more of it, more nonsense. But yeah.
But yeah, guys, do go check that video out on LML channel because it's well worth like doing that. It's really funny. Lord Buckethead is with us. I don't know what you're supposed to be, Mike.
Me on the night Tuesday.
It's from Monty Python.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. She's like, whatever.
The video was well worth watching. It's funny.
But why the ending of Game of Thrones was bad, and why Daenerys is a much better character than what they did to her on the show. And there's all sorts of stuff in the books to prove that. And here's the link for that. Here's the playlist for you. So
definitely click on that link. Also, Mike, did you post a link to like Lone Star? My ears are starting to hurt from these headphones. I streamed for about 3 hours. So we're gonna wrap it up in a few minutes. Wrap this up.
All right. In the link is the link, or in the chat is the link to my Indiegogo Lone Star. You can get 2 issues. Actually, you can 3 different books, all Lone Star books. It's the beginning to my universe, Blacklist universe. It's my sort of a patriotic American superhero, vampire hunter, monster hunter. I don't know. You can go read. I suck at pitching this thing, but
Yeah.
If you like my art, if you've seen my art, then do go check it out. Read up about it. Check out some of the artwork, and if you want to support it, please do. Otherwise, please do subscribe to my channel, which is right there, Art of the Hero with Mike S. Miller. So
Indeed.
Yeah, Mike's art is amazing. I'm sure most of you guys have seen it, but Quinn, do you have the Toddy thing to put up to share this?
Yeah, I have it in my big Tadia book that has my whole script and all my concept art. And then I have like here's the concept art of Tadia that Mike drew. Isn't it lovely? Isn't she beautiful?
yeah, and the
Isn't
live
she
stream of LML, Quinn, and myself is still up, right? So you guys
Yeah.
can watch that being drawn on
That's right.
this very channel.
And get put on the mailing list for my graphic novel Tadia, link in the description. Yeah,
I'm
Lauren
so
actually
fucking
interviewed
excited.
me on her channel one time. There's a cool interview with me and Lauren on her channel. It's really
Nice.
fun.
Yeah, I'm really fucking proud of you, Quinn. That's amazing. I can't wait to get a hold of that shit, like physically, just be flying through it. And then when's the next one coming out, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. I'm just going to just start binging all your stuff now. I mean, for anybody watching, like writing a comic and doing these sorts of things are not easy. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of research, and I know Quinn's very dedicated. And for myself, as doing and self-publishing my own books, that takes a lot of time. So if you've got the time, the couple of dollars or whatever to help Quinn fund this and put this out there, then you should definitely do it, because he's got the talent and the drive to do these things. He's a very intelligent man, and we should all support him in this. And Mike also for his drawing. His artwork's fucking amazing. I'm so excited. I'm gonna have a comic book out. I'm like, yay!
Thank you so much, Lauren. That's so nice. And everybody go subscribe to Lauren. Go subscribe to Lauren's channel. Go subscribe to LML. Lucifer Means Lightbringer. Art of the Hero, Mike S. Miller. Thanks everybody for watching. This stream will be on the live streams playlist on my channel. It will not be listed on my channel. It will be unlisted. What was that? Yeah, it's secret. Just secret playlist. You gotta go all the way down to the channel, scroll all the way to the bottom, and then you'll see it. You know, not everybody gets to watch this. Only the vigilant
Yes.
get to
Or
see it.
bookmark the link. That'll work too.
Loki asked Quinn for it on the back half somewhere, and like get it like it's drugs or contraband. Man, pass me. I'm itching. I'm itching.
Yeah, and also too, like in my stream last night, I did read like the beginning part of the script to Tadia. So if you want to like go and look at that. But it was so funny because I was telling people like click the link in the description, and it wasn't even in the description because I used StreamYard and I forgot to put it in the description, so it wasn't even there. But yeah, now you can actually do it. And if you want to get that sneak peek, go look at that stream and you can hear my reading it.
Can I plug mine for a minute? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I have like my 4th book coming out maybe between now and somewhere between mid next month. I was planning to do it this month, but I got sidetracked with uni stuff. So I actually have poetry books that I've self-published by myself, and I've got an artist who does all the covers for me. She does the artwork and sends them to me, and I will build them up. So book 4 will be out shortly, and I'm working on a short story book. You can get those links on my channel and the description of most of my videos. You can find me on Amazon. I've also got a Patreon where I add stuff to specifically for Patreon. It's like $1.50 a month. Go check that out. It's under Lauren's Corner. Everything's under the same thing. My channel is basically about literature, poetry. I do AQ interviews. I'm not doing them at the moment because I'm trying to get through uni work. I'll do study sessions, like random live streams, whatever I feel like. Really, it's my channel doesn't really have a specific designation. But yeah, I'm friendly. Come say hi. Go check out all these other people and go have a look at my books. Be
Lauren
nosy.
is one of the friendliest people that I know, right? And you guys know I've had some words for Con of Thrones, but like Lauren, top shelf human being right there.
Aww.
All right, guys.
Did you want to talk about Nerds of the Round Table or no?
Oh yeah. So I've been like, I'm on Mike's channel like all the time, like almost like every night, and we're gonna start this thing. Well, he's already doing this thing called Nerds of the Round Table. And
Yeah,
so,
I'm posting the one with you, me, and
Oh, sorry.
Order of the Green Hand is up in the chat if they want to
yeah.
go
So we're gonna start doing that, and we're gonna move it into a more official capacity. So just be on the lookout for that. So we haven't started yet, but go subscribe to Mike's channel because, like I said, I'm always there streaming randomly. So you might catch me at any point. All right, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks everyone for coming to the secret stream and listening to us argue about all types of stuff and discuss all types of things.
It was fun and friendly. Emphasis on the friendly part.
Very friendly. See, you can have pretty friendly discussions even if you don't agree.
All right.
Are they pretty or ugly? Which, as somebody says, both, inside and out. All right. So I'm going to end this broadcast.
Witches can look any way they want to, and you should be scared of them.
That's right.
And end.